couldn't put it together at the end. But you know, I'm looking to bounce back tomorrow and get that win. And yeah, just yeah, Florida wasn't quite where I planned to be. Just a lot of preparation for 2 months to go out and ride around in third. So rebound and go out for that win.
And the good Lord above said differently, as we've got perfect racetrack conditions and we've got perfect temperatures to battle it out for the next 3 hours in this Specialized General GNCC. Who's going to come out on top? The big question, can Stu Baylor back up what he did last week? Will Thad Duvall or Caleb Russell be able to rise to the occasion? Will we have a new player? And row number 1, the XC1 row will be off and rolling in our Specialized General GNCC.
Our leaders on screen. Looked like it was Caleb Russell leading the way. I believe it was Steve Baylor in second, Thad Duvall third. All right together as they come by. That is leaving the mulch pile. We will see them here in the finish in less than a minute. Checking in with 1 lap complete.
Yeah, some Bowens are in and out of the pits. What about Thad? We know that, see, there it is.
He probably put Thad in the lead.
That probably most certainly did. So that pit stop, that strategy paid off. Remember the question you asked, is it strategy? Well, if it wasn't, it sure worked out well for him. Caleb Russell makes his way in now. This will be for, what, lap 5, I believe.
Yeah.
So white flag is out. Yep, white flag is out. 1 more lap to go.
Caleb Russell redeeming himself after what many thought was a disappointing performance in Florida. Caleb himself saying he was happy with it. And folks, he does just that. Slaps the number 1 plate. That was a little bit of a statement right there.
Get ready, and one more time, make some noise for top 3 overall. Thad Duvall, Trevor Bollinger, and Caleb Russell. There goes the spoils of GNCC, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. We got top amateurs, Brody Johnson, Chase. your seats as your overall and WXC champion. Tracy Pickens is on her way up.
Well, one of our guys started coming to the races about 2 years ago when GNCC started to allow course preview on the e-mountain bikes. So from that point on, it's really taken off for us. And if you just look around here, we've got literally hundreds of people on these bikes, and they're utilizing them to pre-ride the course. The mechanics are using them to access their racers on course. People are just riding around the venue. And finally today we're going to begin racing with the Specialized Turbo e-mountain bike series. So we're extremely happy to be here and really think that we're at the beginning of a whole new sport.
Seventh, for round number one, this XC1 Pro ATV. Here's the Specialized General GNCC. Make some noise, GNCC Nation! First GNCC ATV bike and of course Sweet Spray Champagne.
mindset coming into this weekend, man, I need to have a good recovery after Florida there. I had ended up having a mechanical issue there with the motor that ended up taking me out of the running there, so I technically finished dead last, so kind of starting from the bottom here in Georgia, just looking to go out and get some points on the board. Walker, you know, he tends to always get a good start, and if he rolls away with the lead, he's hard to catch. If you can keep him in sight and kind of run with him, that's like my main goal, just get a good start. And I mean, I've run with Walker before. I feel like I could do it again, and you know, I'm looking to get some points today for sure after the upset in Florida.
Can Walker Fowler continue his dominating win from Florida just a week ago? Second, and row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling here at the Specialized General GNCC.
Speaking of Walker Fowler, there is the champ right now and your current leader. Looks like he's opened up that lead quite a bit now, a little more so than what we recognized. Well, no, it was 25 seconds, I guess, at the end of that first lap, is what you're saying. But I swear, when I see them visually on the track, they seem to be so much tighter. But a lot of things can happen in just a short time. Walker Fowler is one of those riders. If he can get out front, look at this. He's in the pits right now, drink, new goggles, and he's off and rolling. .44 lap time last time around for Walker Fowler, and of course 29.55 for Adam McGill. So this shows you how much of a distance there is now between first and second, and there is that 3-4-way battle for the second place position. McGill, Richardson, Forge, and Hart, and those guys really making the run for that second place position as they make the run for the conclusion of lap number 3 out of sight of the pro pits now.
Here he comes for the final time, and he comes across. He's going to get the checkered flag, and he's done it. Walker Fowler out of Rogers, Ohio.
Some champagne, and as Mikey Wayne say, we're going to pop some bottles here, my friends, and spray the bubbly. And of course, first and foremost, we've got sweet spray of champagne. All right, that's got some in my eye there a little bit. They toast each other up here on the podium today. This right here, my friends, your GNCC greats on this podium.
Hello and welcome to the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. Here we are in Morganton, North Carolina at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. We're down here by the creek. It's beautiful sights today. Looks like it's going to be nice all weekend. And I think we're going to be in for some good racing. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in Washington, Georgia for the General GNCC. Walker Fowler brought home yet another win. He's 2 for 2 this season. And we had some good mix-ups even for the second place spot.
Yeah, once again, we had Chris Borich. He found himself on the podium again, and McGill came in second, and it was pretty cool to see McGill up there again.
Yeah.
All in all, I think those boys are working really hard. It's going to be some good racing this weekend.
Yeah, I know we had I think it was a 5- or 6-way battle for the number 2 spot when it came down to the end of the race 2 weeks ago in Georgia. So going to be some good racing today. Can't wait to see all that unfold. As far as XC2 goes, we had John Glauda Jr. taking his second win in a row for the year. And a little bit spread out, more spread out in that class, but still some really good racing.
Yeah, it was actually quite a battle between Drew Landers and John Glauda at the beginning, but then at the end, I think John pulled it off. In third place spot, we had Jordan Poplaski. He's actually a local to my area, so it's pretty cool to see him on the podium as well.
Yeah, for sure. We had good racing in XC1, good racing in XC2. Like I said, we're here at Steele Creek. This place brings out the best in all of us, or the worst in a lot of us. Tight racing, gonna be some good stuff today. I think we're in for a treat. But let's head on down to Bolt-On for a track description.
Oh, hey guys, we're up here at the phone booth for this week's Yamaha track description, and what a great track this is. We call this the phone booth because this is the only place at Steele Creek you can get cell service. So that means when you're down here watching the racing, you don't need cell phones, you're focused on the racing. And it's going to be some great racing. We call this a classic cross-country race course. There's big uphills, there's steep downhills. You have to carry your momentum up that hill and be hard on the brakes coming down the other side. We've also got sand, we've got red dirt, we've got creek crossings. That sand I mentioned, yeah, that's definitely unique when you get up in the mountains, but you got that here at Steele Creek. There's a reason so many people show up to this racetrack. It's a beautiful place and it's tons of fun. It's going to be some great racing. That's this week's Yamaha track description. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bolt-On. Looks like a gnarly track today. Can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, it sure does. Looks like it's going to be a good day of racing. That's it for us here. Let's head on down to Rodney at the starting line.
Thanks a lot, guys. Down here on the starting line at this FMF Steele Creek GNCC, I'm Rodney Tomlin along with last year's winner, the 521 of Adam McGill. And Adam, I tell you what, man, we've already had a blistering great start to the season so far this season. And with that, and coupled with last year's big win and those clutch moments, I know today's going to be a big day for you.
Oh, for sure. Like we said earlier today, this place is definitely a little bit like home for me. You know, we're in the 2020 Moose gear. My over tires are working great for me. You know, my rage motor's pulling hard. We're just going to try to get this thing. We're going to try to stay in the hunt all day long. There's not a lot of places to pass here, but you want to know what? This Honda likes to get some tight places to drive. You know what I mean, man? So thank God it's nice and dry. We haven't had a dry race here. We're going to let it eat.
Well, we'll see what happens when he lets it eat. It got fooled last year when he got the win, and we'll see if he's able to pull it off again here this year as we get set to roll into the 20th running of this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Let's meet our starting lineup. Rolling to the line first today, he is a 4-time GNCC ATV champion. Hailing from Rogers, Ohio, backed by Yamaha on those GBC tires with Fly Racing apparel, it's Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line second today, he won here 1 year ago. We just spoke with him a moment ago aboard the 521 from Waverly, West Virginia on an Ober Moose Racing Parts Unlimited McGill Mafia Honda, Adam McGill. Rolling to the line third today in points, he rides aboard the number 5 out of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on an Action Off-Road GBC Moto Wash-backed Yamaha, the Coal Train, Cole Richardson. Rolling to the line next, he is 4th in points. He is the winningest GNCC racer of all times. He hails out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania on a Maxxis Fly Racing Eel Psycho Barn back Suzuki, Chris Bullrich. Rolling to the line today, 5th in points after 2 rounds of racing, the rookie aboard the number 9 from Newfield, New York on the Maxxis Ithaca Recreation Sports WPS Fly Racing Yamaha, Hunter Hart. He's featured on the event's t-shirt, riding aboard the 741, hailing from Myersville, Maryland on a Ryland Johnson Racing GBC Motorsports Old Cycle Barn Suzuki, Old WW, Wesley Wolf. Rolling to the line today, 7th in points. He rides aboard the number 12. He celebrates his 25th season as an XC1 Pro from Aurora, Ohio on a GBC Fly Racing HMF Factory Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. Riding aboard the number 10, he's 9th ranked in points. The number 11, from Akron, Ohio on a B&R Motorsports GBC Hauser Racing back Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Next, I missed this guy right here, aboard the number 4 machine. He hails from Bidwell, Ohio on a Land Mills XC CST Tires Hauser Racing Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. And now back to where we need to be, aboard the number 14 machine. Out of Ithaca, New York on a Custom Axis Gold Speed back machine, Greg Covert. Riding aboard the number 7 from Richford, New York on a Spider Graphics GBC Moose Racing backed Honda, Marty Christopherson. Riding aboard the number 2 after last season, a 2nd place position, finding his way tough here in the early part of 2019 from Casca, Pennsylvania to Maxxis Elka Moose Racing Honda, Jared McClure. And, of course, the 201, he hails from Carroll, Ohio on a Pierce Performance Moose Fix 6 O Graphics. We're talking about Yamaha's Cody Collier. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. As our riders make their way down to the starting line and find their final few positions out there, who's going to have the best line into that first turn? One would think that obviously the first pick that Walker Fowler got would give him the big advantage as we roll into this one, but sometimes, folks, that may not be the case. As he's got a straight line into that first turn, there's guys on either side of him that feel they've got a straight line as well. The big thing here this weekend, though, if you take a look at this first turn, it could get kind of gnarly and kind of nasty. On the inside, it's dry, it's hard packed, good traction, things are nice. On the outside of that turn, there is a mud hole. I'm talking a water hole, and it will suck you in, it will suck the power out, and it will definitely let folks go blowing by. So I can tell you right now that that is going to be critical and crucial that you don't get hung out to dry out there in the wet part of the racetrack, because that is going to be critical to the start here today at Steele Creek. Who's going to be able to hug that inside? Will they all be able to find it? Who's going to thread needles? We're going to find out. We got $250 up for grabs in the Wise Cove Hole Shot Award, and of course brought to you by GBC Performance Motorsports, also All Balls and Hot Cams. $250 for our XC1 Pro class, $100 for the XC2 Pro Am class, as they'll be vying for top honors in that hole shot as well. And that's just right there to the head of the second turn. Now, that doesn't win the race, and it doesn't put you in first place all the time, but it does earn you a little bit of extra money here in the GNCC racing world. As we turn our attention now up toward that first turn where Ricky Towery is ready to start the show as far as our start is concerned and get this underway as the blue flag is out. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask the North Carolina race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Woo! Woo! I think you guys are pretty ready. North Carolina, you're doing pretty good, but I think you can do a lot better. Let's rock Steele Creek right now. So I'm going to ask you one more time. North Carolina, are you ready to go? GNCC Racing! 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Round the first turn, it's a dogfight, and it's Walker Fowler. No! The number 5 of Coltrane gets the hole shot, but Walker Fowler gets the early lead. And back behind them, that looks to be the number 4, Bryson Neal, I believe, maybe. As we go to the XC2 Pro-Am, Drew Landers, Tanner Walker, Brody Livingood, Steve Cover, Jordan Poplansky, Matthew Blankenship, Charles Dunn, Kenny Schick, Ben Kowalski, Nick Royalty, Matt Lindell, Brandon Eichert, Lance Cope, Wyatt Wilkin, John Glaude, Ronnie Rush, Devin Masters, and Bodie Lamoureux, all ready to roll. 10 seconds. Oh, wow. What a great jump off the line. Man, the adrenaline just gets flowing every time those starts go off. 17 machine of Drew Landers out of Monterey, Tennessee on a Land Mills XC Moose Racing backed Yamaha off and rolling in the early lead. That'll be a good one between he and Glaude. He has gotten no starts the last couple of races, so it's going to be a good one for Drew Landers, looks like. Going to the senior 840 plus class up next. Michael Hayes, Gary Bupkin, Gary Bites, Bryson, Ed King, John Sousa, Tom Barrett, Brad Macri, Mark Batson, Dale Batson, and Brad Shaw in 10 seconds. Around that first turn. It's a, oh man, everybody trying to stay out of that mud. 451 is going to grab the early lead. That is Thomas Barrett from Morrisville, New York, backed by Rick Snyder Racing, Barrett Brothers Auto, and O'Neill Motorsports as they sort it out, heading into that first wood section. College A coming up next. Seth Wilson, Andrew Bonoski, Logan Weiser, Tyler Swindle, Davis Brinson, Hunter Harris, Garrison Paul, Chase Campbell, Peyton Dalton. 10 seconds. Brandon Owens, Chase Feature, Ben Wilson, Kelton Harbin, Hayden Nicholson, Noah Mickelson, Chase Ellison, Gavin Jenkins, Jason Denny, Dylan Walraven, Rhett Cox, Corey Vanderliner, Cale Howard, Cameron Avey, Mikey Nichols, and Blaze Cook rounding the first turn now. Woo! Mercy. And look at that, 470 grabbing the early lead. Chase Allison out of McClellantown, Pennsylvania, out of Maxis. Custom Access answer back machine. Junior A 22 plus class. Zach Wright, Josh Haney, Emily Wise. Welcome back, darling. We also got Justin Miller, Luke Shepard, Tyler Palmer, Jade Millwood, Ryan Thompson, Dustin Ulrich, Jason Como, Bryce Weiland. 10 seconds. Kyle Percy, Nick Davidson, Alex Ella, Doug Morris, also Brandon Henschel, Garrett Good, Clinton Graff, Weston Scott, J.D. Brown, Jacob Scott, Ben Danner, Michael McAvoy, Chandler Bernard, Lee Workman, Tyler Miller, Tyler Nivens, Andrew Hickson, and Jeremy Ladon. And at the stripe here, it's going to be the 644 of Tyler Miller out of Athens, Ohio. That A30 plus class coming up next. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens in this one. AJ, Tommy Coons, Chris Conklin, Todd the Marble Man Muscala, Jason Diller, Travis Austin, Michael Lancaster, Jeremy Gouchard, Dirk DeCesar, Kevin Yoho, Neil Pitts, and Brad Whitehead, all ready to roll in 10 seconds. As we round this turn. Oh, it's the 21, a Big Papa P, Shamokin, Pennsylvania's Jeff Pickens on the GBC Motorsports Waynesburg Yamaha, backed by Fly Racing. Up next, Senior B 40-plus class. Peter Dandria, Greg Phillips, Kenneth Yarbrough, Jason Flaviano, Daniel Dakota. Also, Jason Lemley, Eugene Siemens, David Ogden, Nick Lambruno, Robert Stevens, and Jeff Harvey in 10 seconds. And the Senior B are off and rolling. (9:18). Jeff Harvey from West Union, West Virginia. McGill Mafia, CST Tires, and Fly Racing. I think he's the new host of the new quadcast that is called Behind the Pro Line. College B class coming up next. Ron Howard, Dalton Keys, Grayson Ellers, Sam Zambati, Jason Dawkins, Colby Clark, Matthew Cooker, Hunter Cowan, Levi Myers, Cade Alexo. Also looking 10 seconds. Tanner Green, Aaron Greenwell, Josh Turner, Hunter Godsey, Tyler Rumpke, Jason Hughes, Caden Ryan, and Keegan Walker. I know what. Wow, some of the mud got these guys. The 092 of Ron Howard from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, is able to pull that one off. So the mud plays a little bit of a role in that start, and has probably, because everyone's tried to position himself to keep from going in. But Junior B 22-plus cast coming up next. Cody Elder, Charles Marshall, Craig Olenzy, Josh Adams, Travis Mathias, David Kite, Ryan Macy, Neil Tolston, Dylan Holloway. 10 seconds. Devin Manarochi, also Justin Eisen, Josh Pruitt, Jacob Allball, Nate Hokie, Jonathan Cryambull, and Travis McConaughey. .606. Jacob Allball from Laura, Ohio, taking the early lead in that one as we go to the Vet B 30-plus class. Nick Miller, Nathaniel Tickle, Aaron Hendershot, C.J. Mullet, Corey Tribalock, Dave Ashby, Keith Stewart, Cody Holcomb, Wesley Smith, Cody Stewart, and John Higgins ready to roll in 10 seconds. And the green flag waves on our final row, the Vet B class. They round the first turn. Oh, position jockeying. What's going to happen? Oh, a little going out wide, but not too much. The 408 on his helmet there of Corey Tribalock from Niles, Ohio, BNR Motorsports, Fast Company, and DP Brakes sponsored rider taking the early lead in this one. Well, that's going to wrap things up as far as our start. Some 165 riders, over 500 contestants today alone here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. And of course, the next 2 hours, we're going to be keeping a very close eye on things. Will Adam McGill be able to repeat himself a win here at Steele Creek? Will Walker Fowler be able to be stopped? Stick around. GNCC Racing continues right after this.
Confidently maneuver around obstacles on the trail. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil was subjected to an extreme simulated start test. After 32 simulated race starts, AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil continued to deliver consistent clutch feel, and the clutch plates remain clean with no visible wear. The competitor's oil, however, allowed discoloration and significant wear after just 16 starts.
Speed has its price. Fortunately, it's super affordable. The Specialized Speed into Spring Sale with up to 40% off March 15th through 31st. The faster you visit your local Specialized dealer, the faster you ride. The all-new Yamaha Wolverine X2. With a compact chassis perfect for exploring tight technical terrain. An ultra-quiet and smooth 850 class twin-cylinder engine. And next-level versatility with a 600-pound dumping cargo bed. No other side-by-side delivers this level of proven off-road performance. The all-new Wolverine X2 from Yamaha.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here as we come to you from the FMF Steele Creek GNCC in Morganton, North Carolina. It's the beautiful foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains and, of course, beautiful Burke County, as this race has become quite a tradition here, some 20 years strong in this very valley and amongst all these wonderful mountains. And wow, what a folklore we've got to tell here, as these mountains, if they could speak, they would say quite a bit, no doubt. And they have, over the years, I believe, played a lot of roles in a lot of things that have taken place here, as this is probably one of the most storied GNCCs on the circuit. And of course, with that, I know that a lot of riders are anticipating coming into this one, as we had some great stories from last year. Leading into this one, we've got some pretty good ones as well. Let's check in to see what some of the riders had to say as we rolled in this 20th anniversary.
So what works for me is knowing that I've been here multiple times, and the track really doesn't change a whole lot. I don't know why. I don't know if we're just out of property or whatnot, but Bolton does. Bolton and Eccles do a really good job of setting up the tracks here for what they're given. And I just got done biking the track, and it looks really good. I mean, it's going to take a good start, which it always does. It's really one line, but there are a couple places to pass, so I'm not super concerned with that. My Rage motor always pulls strong. My over tires always keep me going all the way to the finish. So, there's really no big issues with that. It's just mainly going to be just a good start, picking good, consistent lines, because there isn't really a lot of lines out there. The main line is the fast line, but you obviously have to make passes. So when it really comes down to it, it's, in my opinion, it's going to be a good start, yeah.
Yeah, the track looks awesome. It's a little dusty, a little rain might actually help, but got some wet spots here and there, but it's no big deal. I mean, like you said, I biked it on the Specialized Levo, and it's got a really good flow. There's not many lines, but hopefully the flow, the pace be pretty fast tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely way different here than the first two. First one, you had a little, obviously a sand track, and then pretty good hard pack clay, passing opportunities. And you come to North Carolina here, a lot of up and down hills, very select few lines to make any passes. So start is key here. So we'll hopefully just get the Suzuki out front, get a good start, and see what happens from there.
I mean, the fans are definitely great here. They've always been great. And, the track, I mean, it's North Carolina, it's hilly, and, it's one of those tracks that could treat you really well, if you get a good start, or it could treat you really bad if you don't get a good start. But, it's with all the hills, there's only so much you can do with a piece of property, and, there's only so many places we can go with ATVs. So it's pretty similar to last season, but, I mean, it's all we have to work with.
Yeah, the weather is perfect. This place is so hit and miss historically, but we're blessed with mid-70s and a dry track. Just low-lying areas, a few springs, but I mean, honestly, it's dusty, so it's going to be a good start. And obviously, that's the key with every race. But this place in particular usually tends to lead to tighter racing. It's kind of these little goat paths on the side of a mountain for 12 miles. So obviously, a good start, and just kind of ride the best of your ability, and if you're not feeling it, just play roadblock, because there's not a whole lot of places to pass.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here from the FMF Steele Creek GNCC in beautiful Burke County, North Carolina. That, of course, is just outside of Morganton, North Carolina, located about 10-12 miles north there on 181, and a beautiful campground located and nestled in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, one of the most picturesque
tracks on the tour, I believe. As we take a look at our Yamaha track map, as you can see, we got an 11-mile racetrack today. And, of course, we got plenty of shots and plenty of opportunities for you to check out. And right there's our leader, Walker Fowler, who is out front in this one. We are at, not sure which mile mark, the 6.5-mile marker. Sorry about that. So there goes the third place ride. That looked like McGill going by there in the number 3 spot. And, wow, things are kind of dusty out there. You know, we're kind of fooled by things as we see the number 4 machine now making his way up and through, and that is Bryson Neal. Bryson trying to get off to a good start and trying to get some redemption out there. All of our Hunter Hart, Chris Borch, and that's McGill back there. So McGill actually has fallen back. I'm not sure who I missed up front there, so apologize for that. But, wow, McGill a little further back than what we had anticipated and what I thought I might have seen coming off the start there, which we'll recheck those replays here in just a few moments and watch how heated that was. We'll probably be getting into some of those XC2 riders coming up next. Got 14 XC1 Pro riders in the mix of things there. That looked like, was that McClure going by on the number 2? If that's the case, he was way back. That might have been Christofferson, though, on the number 7 also. I know Christofferson has that black plastic scheme that he's got going on with his graphics and everything, or darker colored anyway. But, wow, coming into this one, a lot of folks really anticipating big things. As we heard from a lot of the guys, this track is what it is. It's not necessarily the most favored track on the tour. It's not the most hated track on the tour, but it is one of the more respected ones because you've got to be very picky and choosy about the lines that you do choose if you do try to make passes out there. And as I said, we've been coming here for 20 years, and when you got mountains like this, there's not a whole lot of things that you can do to change things up out there. That guy here still watching things at the 6.5-mile marker. I'm not sure if Drew Landers and John Glotta have made their way through yet in that top spots of the XC2 Pro-Am class, but we saw those guys get off to another phenomenal start. At least Landers did. Landers actually not having as great a starts in the first 2 rounds, but he was able to work his way up through the pack. Let's check in with the rapid replays now for our XC1 Pro class start. Now, the specialized rapid replay, of course, and we know, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell this, but Adam McGill actually started his machine just a little bit early. You can see the officials clap their hand. They got the number on that. So Adam McGill actually started his machine a little bit early, and he gets into a whole lot of trouble at the same time. Now, what happened there, I'd say that Adam realized what he had done, and he kind of backed off. So in doing so, got himself tangled up in there in the mix. Now, they will be actually penalizing him 15 seconds, or they have penalized him 15 seconds at the finish line at the end of that first lap to hold him up. There's Walker Fowler, or now this is second place here. This is Cole Richardson, I believe, on board the number 5. Got off to a great start out there in drop at the gate. Now there's that third place ride, and again, I'm missing the number on that one. Looks like we got things starting to spread out. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you, buddy. Things really starting to spread out quite a bit as we're now 19 minutes into this. We're still on lap number 1. So McGill, no matter where he is right now, will still be held up 15 seconds at the finish line due to that false start. Unfortunate for him. Hoping to get a good start today, and secondly, hoping to back up last year's win. Here's more of our XC1 traffic coming through. I think that was Johnny Gallagher we saw out of Aurora, Ohio. This is his 20th lining up on the Pro Row, XC1 Pro Row in this race. It is 20 years. He celebrates 25 years as an XC1 Pro Class rider this year. And again, I say that all the time, and we say it often only because it is an amazing feat. And it's not like he's just out there riding around just to collect the accolades, that's for sure, because he pushes and is probably in better shape than he was when he first started racing Pro Class. Should be seeing Hunter Hart. That should be about the 7th and 8th, 9th places, if I'm not mistaken, with Hunter Hart, Chris Borch, McGill, those guys back there. So watching here, I believe this is just past the, by the 7-mile marker, if I'm not mistaken. 7.5, right in that neighborhood. And as you can see, this is one of the lower lying areas of the creek. Now here, an area, you see how sandy the bottoms are. Just to give you an idea, this track, people keep talking about how rough it gets. It's soft, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Now this looks like a hard-packed section of the racetrack, and that's not so often that you're going to see, but as you can see, that's also in an elevation change as they start up this hillside here. That's when it starts to pack back up. But in those low-lying areas, everything's real sandy. You get a lot of whoops, and the track just really gets rough and beat in and becomes quite a bit of a challenge, and it creates great racing, that's for sure. There's no doubt. It certainly brings out the best in man and machine. As we'll watch. Okay, we're looking for the XC2 leaders to come checking in with us now. Again, Land Mills XC rider Drew Landers had the early lead in that one. We'll see if he was able to hang on to it. So Landers has come through, so we do know that Landers is through. So can we get the second place? I can't quite tell who those guys are, but that's got to be those XC2 guys coming through now. And I know that we'll be getting an update at the finish line here. As we said, an 11-mile track. We're about 22 minutes into this one now, so I'm assuming within the next 5 to 6 minutes we'll probably see the conclusion of lap 1. Now the second lap will obviously be a little longer because we start a little ways into the lap, a mile or two, and you're going to add a few minutes on to the remainder laps. But generally about 25 minutes, 24 minutes is what we see in an 11-mile course like this for a first lap time. So I couldn't tell who came through in second. I believe that Drew Landers still leading that XC2 Pro-Am. So we'll take a look at that specialized rapid replay of the XC2 start as the green flag waved in that one. We'll see how things went down. $100 up for grabs in this one. It's another gear grabbers. We're joined in booth here now by LW. Landon Wolf is here with us. And Landon, I tell you, man, these riders are presented with a lot of challenges in that first turn, narrowed up with that water hole out there. But Drew Landers somehow or another was able to thread a needle, and that's the best start he's gotten so far here in 2019.
Yeah, that first corner out there today was tricky, and I think it created a little bit of fiasco there in the first corner for XC1 and XC2, especially XC1, just because nobody wanted to get pushed wide out into that mud. The outside of that first corner is just an absolute swamp, so made for some interesting starts, but yeah, Drew Landers off to a good start.
The only class that I seen today that had riders go out wide and were able to still hang on to the lead barely was the 4x4 class.
Yeah.
And that was the AB class,
Yeah.
I think. That was crazy.
Yeah, they'll go through it still pretty quick, but not the way to go, that's for sure.
Well, Landon, and while we got a second here, how did your morning go in the 4x4 Pro class?
Morning was good. We had a little bit of a shorter track than we're used to, but no, it was good. Track got rough. Track's dry. This is probably some of the best conditions we've ever had here at Steele Creek.
Awesome.
But the morning race was good. Ended up getting a win this morning, barely by just a second over Dwight Pollard. But no, track was great. It was a little rough though. I think these guys are really going to blow this track out.
Right, as we're watching more of our B riders, we'll try to get in once they start checking in at the finish line. We'll be able to know a little bit more about it. But I was just taking note of this particular area out here by the 7.5 mile marker. We talk about these low-lying areas having a lot of sand, obviously where it's washed out of the mountains and stuff. There's not a lot of hard pack. It builds up, it gets rough and stuff, but we noticed that some of the sand's gotten blown off. We do have some hard pack out there, I guess.
Yeah, this track really changes a lot throughout the 11 miles or whatever it is. But a lot of elevation change, a lot of terrain change, a lot of different types of soil. Now it's definitely a track that you have to adapt to the whole race long. I mean, it's dry as can be in some places, but you get down there in that creek crossing, it gets pretty wet. But I think these guys will be fine. They shouldn't really have any issues with mud holes or anything like that. I know the one creek crossing can get pretty tricky, but I'm sure they'll motor through it just fine.
Well, we are watching out here at the 7.5 mile marker. We are now about 25 minutes into lap number 1. Walker Fowler, at last checked, was out front. Cole Richardson running in the number 2 spot. And that's pretty much the way they started out there earlier. Cole and Walker went I mean, they were side by side going into that first turn.
Yeah, I saw Walker, or Cole was on the outside, so Walker got him. Here they come into the pits, or Walker anyway, and then I saw Bryson Neal got off to a good start today, and that's new news for him. That's that's not a normal thing for him, so that's big. Could really work out for him.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was him in third or if I saw him a little further back.
Yeah, that was him in third. He's wearing that neon green gear. Okay. It's different for him. Normally, that's him right there in third. Cole Richardson in second. And looks like there's a couple riders still right there behind.
Yeah,
Neal.
right behind Bryson.
That is Sneaky Snake.
I believe
that
it
is Jared McClure in the number 4 spot. So he's off to a pretty good start today as well. It's something a little bit new for him this year as well. Hadn't had the best of starts, but here comes Hunter Hart. Looks like he's pointing at something on his handlebar, shaking his head. Adam McGill right there behind him. We're going to see if he gets
he will be penalized.
Yeah.
Adam McGill once again will be penalized 15 seconds. The way they handle that is on a false start like that.
I just saw the flag wave, so they yanking him in, and then Chris Porch and Wesley Wolf there.
So they basically literally pull them off to the side, hold them there for a determined amount, depending on how bad it was, the infraction, 15 to 30 seconds. It was a 15-second infraction for Adam McGill. They'll hold him up 15 seconds, and they'll let him go. And sometimes, Landon, that can be a problem. Sometimes it don't really cause much of a problem. It actually fires the rider up and gives them more incentive, I think.
Yeah, and especially at a track like this where there's a lot of different opportunities. There's a lot of ways this race could go, a lot of different ways this race could go, and maybe it'll work in his favor. We don't know, but I don't think it's going to get him down just yet. I mean, we can't be but 23 minutes. Or no, 27 minutes.
Yeah, we're lap time officially for Walker Fowler at the end of one was 25:44. He had a 17-second lead over the Cole Train, who turned in a 26:01. Bryson Neal just under 4 seconds behind, a 26:05, a 26:06 by Jared. The Sneaky Snake McClure right there. Hunter Hart riding on the number 9 was another 20 seconds back. Chris Porch was right behind him, about 6 seconds back. Wesley Wolf was featured on the event t-shirt. 7th, 8th, Cody Collier. 9th, Johnny G. And 10th was Josh Merritt.
I thought that might have been our XC2 leader. That's Greg Covert out of New York, still coming in right there in the back side of the camera shot there. That's the XC2 battle. Looks like they're slicing and dicing right there.
Wow,
looks like there's a little bit of a gap between XC1 and XC2 today. Seems like larger than normal.
Yeah, and I don't know what that would be. It could be that we've got a good battle with Drew getting out front first like this. That could really tighten things up between those guys and maybe even slow them down a little bit. But I believe we saw those guys. There should be seeing the 17 machine of making their way through that.
There we go. There, that looks like John Jr. in the front.
Yep.
I cannot figure out who that is in second, but that's Drew Lander. Oh, that's probably Ben Kowalewski there, not in second place.
All right, so
yep, it is.
It's Kowalewski. Ben Kowalewski, I believe, is considered amateur of the week.
Yeah.
Different guy. Yeah. So anyway, John Glotta, Kowalewski, also Drew Landers 1, 2, and 3 there. There's Walker Fowler we're seeing out here early in this first lap. This is the Monster Mile. Again, we always say it like this. It may not be an entire 5,280 feet mile, but it sure feels like that and more. They always find something different. What's so special about this Monster Mile?
Today's is just like a little bit of a hill climb. And, I mean, you see a little bit of the hill climb there, but it does continue to go on up. Oh, it looks like Bryson Neal into the number 2 spot. Where is Cole? Oh, there's Cole. Bryson Neal into the number 2 spot. Jared McClure into number 3. Cole Richardson in 4th. Yeah, it's a steep part of the track over there on the hill, and the long way up to the top. Got to pull around on the top a little bit, and then it's actually a pretty steep descent back to the bottom, and they'll be coming back down right there on the other side of those spectators.
So it's kind of tricky out there. I mean, if you hit your lines and your marks, it's going to be fine. But if one little mix-up, and you could find yourself probably fighting it all the way through.
Yeah, you really could. And there I just noticed Chris Porch not off to his best start today, but he has made his way through Wesley Wolf, got by Hunter Hart. There's McGill already, so he's got his penalty, and he is back out there, and he's really not that in that bad of a position.
Able to make up some time. Let's look at this XC2 Pro-Am class for you real quick. John Glotta Jr., Ben Kowalewski, Drew Landers, your top 3. Then it was Tanner Walker checking in. Does that say Nuh-uh. 3 minutes? No, 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Yeah,
They
okay.
were all that close
because
there.
Drew Landers was 0.4 of a second behind Kyle Lewski, who was 1.3 seconds behind John Glada. So those guys like really nose to tail coming through the finish line. So Tanner Walker back there about 3 seconds. Ronnie Rush, a 34-second gap. So those front four really starting to stretch out over the rest of the field. We got Ronnie Rush at 7:14 and 5th. Wyatt Wilkin, the 6:21 out of Hillsboro, Ohio. He's running in 7th, 8th, the 1:27 of Matt Blankenship, Greenwood, Indiana. I think last year's College A champion, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Matt Lindell, the 3:03 in 9th place out of Iowa. And Jordan Poplowski, the 82 rounds out your top 10. Lindell, 9th place right now.
Not the right place for him. Not where he's used to be either. So I expect a good long hard charge out of him today to maybe even make his way back to a podium position. One thing I definitely want to keep an eye on today is the fact that Bryson Neal is just over 1 lap into the race and he's already in the number 2 spot, and that's big news for him. He hasn't normally put himself in that good of a position by that early on, so this is big for him. Early on in the race, already in the number 2 spot, and he's close enough to Walker to do some damage.
And you know, talking to him, I'm sure you've talked to him, the confidence level is obviously there. He's confident in himself, he's confident in his machine, he's confident in his program. He just hasn't got the starts, hasn't got the breaks that he's been looking for. And you know, it all comes together all at once, it seems like, and everything for his program has really come together on that Land Mills XC team that he's got working with Landers and those guys over there. So in my opinion, I mean, just from confidence alone, it's just a matter of time before he can click a win off, or at least challenge for a win. You know, I said it's going to be the most challenging season of racing, championship season of racing top to bottom, but I still have to go out on a limb about Walker Fowler. The first 2 rounds, there's second place coming through now. There is Bryson Neal.
So another one, I mean, we're talking about Bryson Neal. Like you say, he definitely does seem confident. He looks like he's really having fun with the racing this year, which is what it's mostly about. But another rider I think is in a similar situation as Bryson. Here to have fun, but then again, you know, he also wants to win races, and he is very capable of winning races, is Jared McClure.
Right.
And he just hasn't had the luck to, or the fortune to do it.
After last season, I mean, it's a heartbreaker for him because he had such an amazing season, taking the number 2 plate last year, and then he opens up in Florida, gets way behind the 8 ball there, doesn't have the results that he'd hoped for either, I don't think, in Georgia. So he's completely outside the top 10 right now, and he's got a big hole to dig himself out of as we roll through 2019. Waiting on the leaders here at the bridge. Trying to see the mile marker on this one. This is the 4.5 mile marker, yes. So as we follow along, whenever we look at our Yamaha racing map here, we got a copy of it. So they'll be hitting that, and I believe that's out near that FMF power point.
It is, yeah. Out in the woods just before this, well, after what we're looking at now, but just before the creek section we were just looking at, there's a pretty gnarly hill climb that heads right up to the state highway there. And I know last year it definitely created mayhem, not so much on the first lap, but after the dirt got dug out and there were deep ruts the whole way up, you know, by the second to last and last lap, it got pretty gnarly. But these guys are down here trying to pump some water out of this particular section of the creek just because it is getting deep, and these sport quads, I mean, it's damn near up over their fenders. So
wow. I know as a race fan, we look at that and we say, put the water in it, put the water in it, let the best man get through it the best way that he can. There's a lot of money involved in these things nowadays. I mean, it's not like we're just got to go taste and, you know, put a new piston and ring or something in it anymore. So I get why the track builders and designers, you know, they try to throw it a little bit in to give you a taste of it, but not overdo it. And it does, I mean, what is the challenge of this? I mean, it used to be a challenge when the water used to be up to the gas tank and this, I mean, that was the challenge. That's what we saw. What is the challenge in the bridge crossing now?
Well, just the water. Keeping yourself dry is the real challenge in my eyes. I mean, none of these guys are going to have a problem getting through the water. but it's the fact of getting through the water and not making a mess of yourself.
And the thing is, I mean, you guys aren't prepared for wet conditions today. I mean, that's one thing we got to point out. So you got to be extra careful on a day like today whenever it comes to water conditions. A lot of things can happen. We've talked about them during mud races. You can suck things into the air filter, the breather, you know, and toast a motor in just a matter of just a few seconds. And the same thing can happen if you go splashing through a water hole like this. So you're not prepared for that, so to speak. So it would be more detrimental, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people here, they're here to race. They're here to race heads up. They want a good clean track to really see who is the fastest rider out there. Now, don't get me wrong, we have some races that, like Snowshoe, for instance. I mean, that's a battle to the finish. That's who can last the longest. But no, I mean, they definitely still have plenty of challenges out there for these guys. So.
Yeah, I'm sure a little bit of water taken away is not going to hurt them.
No.
College age 16 to 21, seeing them check in. We've had some really good battles in this one this year, too. These are the guys on the verge of moving up into that XC2 Pro-Am. But Brandon Owens out of Walker, West Virginia, is the rider leading that one right now. If you see him on the track, he's the number 246 Yamaha. The 888 of Cameron Abey out of Union, South Carolina, running in the number 2 spot. 622 Dylan Walraven is third. Fourth place, Noah Mickelson, the 400 out of Salisbury, North Carolina, that Phoenix Racing Honda ride. And Andrew Bonoski out of East Palestine, Ohio, rounds out your top 5. Man, what a field of riders in that College A class. I've been talking about Owens. Abey is another one of those riders, and Walraven. We watched those guys grow up, but then you throw in Noah Mickelson, who came out of the ATV motocross racing world and has really put a lot of pressure on these guys out there. I mean, this College A class, the level of competition, man. I mean, this is almost what probably an XC1 class was 10, 15 years ago speed-wise. If not, maybe earlier. I mean, 8 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not that I would know, but I would imagine that the speeds have definitely escalated pretty quickly here in the last couple of years. Just with some of the riders out there. I mean, Chris really set a pace there back when he was winning championships, and now Walker is just on fire, which he's dragging everybody else along with him. So here comes Walker. Now look here, Walker is up on his knees on the seat, just trying to keep his feet dry, because like I say, just being dry and being comfortable is a big part of this. And,
I was going to say, what would be the issue of having wet feet at this particular point?
Comfort.
Just the comfort.
It's all. I mean, I guess your feet would get a little bit heavier, but I'm sure they're not worried about that. It's just being comfortable. Just trying to be in the same state of mind as he is when he practices.
Now, did you do that? Did you get up on your knees?
I didn't. I got a 4x4 that's got some bigger fenders than these guys, but. No, it looks like this group here is still chugging away. Bryson Neal in the second place spot, Jared McClure behind him, and Cole behind him. So they've definitely got a little bit of a gap on the fifth place or second, third.
One thing that those three riders need not do, and it looks like that's what they're doing, they're getting in a battle amongst themselves right now. And while they do that, that's going to give Walker Fowler an opportunity to check out. So we'll see. They got to keep Walker in check. We talk about it all the time. Once he's out of sight, and Walker, I'll tell you, man, as long as he knows they can see him, he's not going to ride his lines.
Right.
And that's when Walker makes up his time, as soon as he gets out of sight, because then he starts burning in those lines that he knows how to ride, and he doesn't want anyone else to see, and is able to make up those astronomical times that you see on a lap, going from 9th to first place in a lap's time like we saw.
Here we have a mix-up. So last time it was Chris, Wesley, Hunter, Adam, and now it is Hunter, Adam, Chris, Wesley, and Chris just went to make the pass on Adam there in the creek. So it is a place where some people are trying to stay dry, and some people see it as an opportunity. All right, I'm going to get wet, and I'm going to try and make a pass. But
you got to take those chances where you can, because I mean, if they hang back here, a second or two back here could be costly by the end of this race. There's Johnny Gallagher making his way through as Gallagher checks in. I think he was top 7th, 8th place position whenever he checked in. Well, he's 10th place overall, so he's 10th place whenever he checked in, behind Cody Collier, who was 9th. Wesley Wolf, 741, was your 8th place ride. And then, of course, that trio of riders with Forge, McGill, and Hunter Hart there. Jared McClure, I think, maybe in that, so we got that front four, Walker Fowler by himself now. It's starting to look like then Richardson, Neal, and McClure, but it's actually Neal, McClure, and Richardson, I believe, the way they're running now.
Yes, Neal, McClure, Richardson. Oh, maybe, yeah, it was. There's Hunter Hart there at the, I think, 6.5.
Yeah.
Still cruising.
Walker Fowler.
Is that not what I said?
No, you said Hunter Hart, but that's all right.
Sorry. That is Walker Fowler. Yeah, that is Walker Fowler.
Hey, if that's the worst thing, worst call we have today, we're doing our fine job.
That's Walker Fowler. How much of a lead did he have there? 17 seconds. 17 seconds at the end of the first lap. Oh, another thing, they must have gotten out of control. We had heard that Adam's transponder wasn't working, but it looks like it is in fact going.
We've got they do manual check-ins too, so they manually score that in. That battle, it doesn't look like Walker's really starting to stretch out much over those guys right now, as we saw Neal and McClure and Richardson checking in second, third, and fourth place there, coming through at the 6.5 mile marker. I think that we were still within that 17-second range, to be honest with you, Landon.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Neal being out front of that pack is the best thing for that pack right now. I think Bryson's a really good charger, or a sprinter, I should say, right off the bat. And I think he's a good person to be leading that pack right now, and maybe take all three of them up to the back of Walker.
Well, chances are we're looking at most likely a 4-lap race. We'll be coming around when we come around for the second lap about somewhere in the neighborhood 20 minutes. Oh no, 10 minutes. Leaders due in 10 minutes, and that's another tricky question right there. If the leaders are due in 10 minutes, that'll put them at the 50 mark. Will that be a time for them to stop and pit, or will they? I know the pitting strategy, and that's going to be interesting, because it's going to be interesting to see what these guys out here choose to do. Some may elect. We saw Bryson Neal do it in Florida. Remember the gas mileage? Maybe the gas mileage, they got it dialed in a little bit better, and that might be another opportunity for them here. So we'll see what they're thinking out there.
Yeah, and it could be a second lap pit, third lap pit decision that really could play a big part. If Cole Richardson, who's in the back of that second place battle, if the other two decide to pit, he may say, I'm going to pass these guys, try and put a gap on them, and then I'm going to pit next lap and hopefully stay in front of them. So,
and we've seen Cole do that before too, I think. So don't be surprised to see that happen. So strategy, I think pitting is going to be a big strategy. When I first came into GNCC, pitting was even more of a strategy than what it is now. You had to worry about changing tires and things like that. Flat tires like that, sometimes you'd see four-wheel tire change in a race, and you rarely see anything like that ever anymore with the flat-proof inflation systems like what we got, like tire spines and things like that keep those machines running, keep them running flat. Just amazing. But it's come down now. Basically, fueling, goggles, and water is what your pit stops are, and you've got, and it's a ballet.
There's Walker Fowler right there, so we'll have him at the 52. We'll try and get panned back here and see exactly how far Bryson Neal is behind. I saw him right behind that first Rocky Mountain banner.
Seconds.
All right, so it looks like he has stretched it out.
Yeah, he has. Now, I think more so in that last section.
Right.
From the last time we saw him than before.
So 52 to 19, 19 and 8 is 27 seconds.
Wow. So he's, and if it was starting to tighten up or wasn't stretched out more than the 17 seconds, he really found some lines out there. And through these first few miles, I mean, to be able to put that much of a gap, that's pretty impressive stuff. I mean, you ride, it's
not easy to do. Not at all. And I think a lot of his outlook, more so here than any other track on the series. It is a little bit one-lined, kind of hard to pass, kind of hard to in some places in the track there literally is no passing. There's just not a way around. So when it comes to lappers, when you get up, behind a slow lapper, if you catch them at a bad time where you're just entering a really tight section, you can lose 20 seconds in the blink of an eye. So
and people don't realize that. I
mean,
and the amazing thing is, oftentimes, you guys will lose times like that, but still turn consistent lap times. I guess you find speed in other places of the racetrack. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And we jumped off that scene there a little early, but it kind of looked like Adam McGill was out in the front of the battle for 5th.
Wow, and that changed again, huh?
Yeah, I'm not positive on that, but the first person I saw was Adam, so.
Yeah, that one's got see, it's got Adam McGill, Hunter Hart, Chris Borich, and Jared McClure.
No, Jared's in the first one. Wesley's in that
Wesley,
second
that's
one.
it. Yeah, Wesley, 741. Now this is a good showing for Wesley today. I mean, an 8th place position. I mean, if you were talking about it, yeah, you probably wouldn't be happy with it. But I mean, a 7th, 8th place position this morning is what Wesley told me he felt like. That's realistically where he's at right now, and he's riding that. But the thing about it is, he's in a group of guys, and they're not far out of maybe advancing. So Wesley might be able to find a little bit of positions today. Well, I tell you, as this one rolls on, you look down through this list, and Walker Fowler's got so many wins right now under his belt. Bryson Neal's got 1 win under his belt. Jared McClure's got wins under his belt, and the one rider that almost had a win here last year. He got a win last year, but he almost got the win here last year, if I'm not mistaken. Which it would have been his first, right?
Yes, that would have been his first, and he was seconds off of it. Just fell short of Adam.
Oh, man, what a heartbreaker. But talking about the Cole train, Cole Richardson, and what a great start for him. So he might be looking for a little redemption today, no doubt. He comes in full force, bringing the whole team, bringing all the effort. And, of course, with that, you wonder, what is all the effort? What is the whole team? How does it all work out? Well, GNCC does the little thing we call GNCC rigs. We take a tour of the work spots, I guess, the pit areas of these individuals each week. And this week we had the opportunity to tour with Cole and find out just exactly what's happening over there in that new team that he's got going on. So let's check out our new GNCC rigs with Cole Richardson.
Hello, this is Cole Richardson, and this is the race rig we're going to have for today.
Noise.
This is the Ampro Yamaha ATV. I mean, as you can see, we have this thing decked out with all the best components and all the clutter that we've had from being in Florida for months. We're headed back north, and we'll give you a tour. All right, and then we'll take a gander up here, up the steps into the where we hang out before the races, and kind of do as racers have their own little pre-race rituals. Right here, this couch pulls out for the mechanic Aaron. Up top above the cab here is where I sleep. Behind that blind there's the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and kind of where we drive the rig at. This is where we have the lunches, dinners with the table, and all these cabinets is just storage with sheets, blankets, pillows, some food. Over here we have the stove, microwave, everything to cook what we need to eat. And as we come back here, you can walk in. As we come back here, we have the restroom, the shower. This is where usually my dad sleeps back in here. He has his own TV, storage for all the clothes, and that door goes back to the garage where the race bikes are. I'm Cole, and you're watching GNCC Rigs on Racer TV Live.
And of course, right now Cole Richardson rolling the Cole train through the mountains of North Carolina on that Action Off-Road GBC Moto Waz machine. Of course, as we had pointed out, we told you the new team, the new look. He's still riding Yamahas here in 2019, but a whole different team with the Action Off-Road guys and GBC Motorsports as well as Moto Waz. And I'll tell you, it doesn't look like Cole Richardson lost a beat in making some transitions there in his programs, and maybe even inspired him a little bit more as we've seen him shadowing Walker Fowler several times. Currently in a battle for the second place position right now, but the gap is opening up. We're now near 30 seconds between the first and second place positions, which again, Bryson Neal, Jared McClure, and Cole Richardson doing battle in that position. Another 20 seconds back, we had Hunter Hart, Adam McGill, Chris Borich, and Wesley Wolf doing battles. And now we are looking at the pro pit area. I believe this is located just before the finish line region. And we are less than 2 minutes away according to timing and scoring. Again, we need to add a little bit of time onto that. So I'm going to anticipate that looking at where the start is in relation, it's going to be at least another 3 to 4 minutes longer. Maybe I could be wrong. All right, here we go into the pits. I may be off more than what I realized as our leaders may be rounding the turn now as we see Mark Notman readying himself with a pair of goggles. We see the crew. There's Walker Fowler. He's in now. There goes the fresh goggles. There goes some gas. And, of course, the water bottle. No other issues. Nothing really going on. Walker in and out. So Walker does make the pit stop. No long pit stop. Seemed to be a rather cut and dry as we head to the finish line here. And, you know, I may have lied to you folks, man. These guys may actually have turned and might not be as far off the finish line as what I had thought and closer to the 1 mile marker. So they didn't have as much time to make up as I had originally thought. And actually Walker was able to turn that one a little bit faster as that was a 24:39 lap time. He was in the 25-minute range, if you remember, a lap ago. There's Bryson Neal in now in the pits on board the number 4. He's in and out. We wondered whether or not he would stop. Trying to get that behind him, and here they come. The guys right behind him. And as they check into the finish line, Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, 2, 3, and 4. So there it is, 33 seconds now between Walker Fowler and second place Bryson Neal, 1 second separating. Wow, 1.072 and 1.073 between the third and fourth place positions and second place. I mean, that's their nose to tail literally as they came through the finish line region. We're waiting right now. Remember, 20 seconds was the gap that we saw back to Hunter Hart, and we can see right now the Hunter Hart pits are waiting and still no sign of Hunter. There's Adam McGill checking into the pits, I believe, on the 521 machine. That looks like the mustache. And no, that wasn't him. All right, still here at the finish, at the pit stops. Whoa, the number 9 machine of Hunter Hart is in and out now as we watch this one all unfold. So that's so McGill did check in the 5th place position. Chris Borich in 6th place now as he has dropped 11 seconds. Adam McGill is looking at almost a minute between himself and now the 4th place ride of Jared McClure. So we've seen a big drop there. The gap, again, 11 seconds back to Chris Borich. Wesley Wolf 7 seconds behind him in 6 and 7. Hunter Hart is 8th. Hunter was 20 seconds back to Wesley Wolf. So he lost a little bit of time and a few positions. Johnny Gallagher in and out aboard the number 12 machine there in his pits on that GBC back machine. So Cody Collier, I believe, should be. There's Johnny Gallagher. We should be seeing Cody Collier next, if I'm not mistaken, the 201 from Aurora, Ohio. You wonder why Cody rides the 201 number, and there he is checking in as a youth rider. He moved into the morning class ranks as a schoolboy and actually won the morning overall and acquired and earned the number 201, which is the highest ranking of the 10 o'clock then and now 11 o'clock race. Instead of getting the number 1 plate, they got the 201 plate. Well, he acquired that 201 plate, and since that time has used that number, and we have come to know and love Cody as that number 201. And there is one of the big stories of the day, and I hadn't mentioned it yet. Devin Feehan out of this race due to some shoulder injury. We were talking with him before the race got underway. He said he didn't have a whole lot of a problem with the push. It was the pull, and he was afraid that trying to hang on to the bike might be a little more than he was capable of doing and maybe risking further injury. I know they were collaborating during the Pro Rider interviews as I got to the tent there at Feehan's pits, and he told me then they were trying to decide at that particular point. Looks like they elected to go the safe route, sit out the race weekend, maybe go find out what is wrong with it and get it taken care of. But it was an incident that happened just a few days ago in a practice crash, and he is nursing that today, trying to get it back up to health. Again, Devin Feehan, a sophomore this year, but it's certainly going to be one to keep an eye on. Just because he sits out this race, don't think he won't be a force to be reckoned with. All right, continuing to watch here as we're getting things set up. Landon heading down to the pits. GNCC's Chuck LeMaster getting ready to head into the booth here for just a moment as well as we're watching the Monster Mile, giving you some updates. Again, Walker Fowler just, don't mean to say it in this way, but just totally destroying the field right now. 30-plus second lead. I'm going to gather that we're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40-some seconds now. As these pro riders making their way in, looking for some, I think that some of the pro riders, I can't tell if those are red background number plates or not, to be honest with you. Hello, as we are now joined by Alicia McCormick. We got no, we don't have a chair here. Sit in my chair. I'll stand up. I need to stand up. What you got to sit down for anyway? You sat down all day riding your couch this morning. You don't sit down on that big old thing?
I don't.
Alicia McCormick joining us here from the WXC class. He's also a part of the Racer TV team. And Alicia, how did your race go today?
It actually went really well. I finished second. It was a good day.
That's awesome.
I got passed by my kid. So.
That's great. Did he get the win?
He got the win and he got third overall.
Awesome. That is amazing stuff there, no doubt. You've been out watching the race. You've been seeing what's going on. What have you seen out there so far?
Yep, I see Walker checked out and pretty much a big battle behind him.
That's pretty much what we've been watching. It's gone down. It's like we got like 3 guys battling for the second place position, 3 or 4 guys was battling for the 6th place position, 5th place position. It's all changing so much, and after those pit stops, we can see that the gaps, and I don't think the pit stops really had a lot to do with it, but the gaps certainly from, I think, a 6.5 mile marker of lap 2 to the finish line really started to widen a lot out there, and you know, you were out there during that time, and constantly changing track conditions, 6.5 to the 11 mile marker, probably some of the more challenging terrain, I would assume, right?
Absolutely, a lot of ups and downs, not much passing, so when you can get it, it's really important to go for it.
Yeah, and when the window of opportunity, you don't wait around. I mean,
No.
you got to be on your toes and ready to react at any given time. Alicia, watch the monitor there. I'm going to go through a class or 2 of amateur riders. We got 2 laps in, and I think it's time to give some of these guys some bill here. We did talk about that College A class there a few moments ago. They're not due. I'll tell you what, we'll give them a few more minutes. They're not due in for their second laps complete for a few seconds. So let's give those guys and all of our amateurs a chance to get another lap in. But let's take a look now, see how things are going for the top 20 overall. Looks like mainly filled with XC1 and XC2 riders. Fowler, Neal, Richardson, McClure, McGill were your top 5 when they checked in. Chris Borch was 6, 7 was Wesley Wolf, Hunter Hart was 8, Johnny G was 9, Cody Collier in 10, John Glada, that was your XC2 Pro Am class leader in 11th, I'm sorry. John Glada was followed on time adjustment by Josh Merritt in 12th overall, the number 11 from the XC1 Pro class. Ooh, Tanner Walker, the 22, moving in.
Yeah, he's running a really good race. He's in 2nd right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe Drew Landers might be better starting from the back of the pack. It looks like he started in the front of the pack and inching his way backwards. Yeah. So now we see Walker up to 13th overall, 2nd in the XC2 Pro-Am. Marty Christopherson, 14th from the XC1 Pro class. And there in 15th overall is Drew Landers, 36 seconds now behind Walker, who's 13th overall and 2nd in class. He is third. Landers is 3rd in class, so we'll keep an eye on that to see what's going on with Drew. Ben Kowalewski, he was another rider that was there. Something must have happened out there.
Yeah, he was running. He was in the lead for the first couple laps. Something must have happened, or how attrition plays out.
Right, and exactly. You know, it could have been something with the pit stops. Remember, that was a lot of the riders elected to pit. Some may not have. Some may have been a little quicker than others. So that could play a big role in that as well. Wyatt Wilkin, XC2 Pro-Am, is 18th overall. Jordan Poplaski is 19th. And a little Ronnie Rush, not so little anymore, I don't guess. 714 out of Pittsburgh, or if you're from that area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that is your top 20 overall. As far as non-XC1 or XC2 riders are concerned, our top rider right now, well, we have to go back a ways.
College A.
Yeah, College A rider.
Owens.
Brandon Owens, leader of that College A class, and Cameron Abey is 28th overall. So we'll keep a little bit of an eye on that one as well to give you an idea. And right now they haven't checked in for their second lap complete, so they could actually be a little further up in the tally depending on how they're doing against lap times of that XC1 and XC2 Pro-Am class that we're watching, Alicia. So they may be a little higher into the standings than what we're realizing right now.
I agree. If Brandon could put a race together, I think he'll be well up there, top amateur.
Now, is Brandon, is he a rider? He came through the youth ranks, didn't he?
I don't remember him through the youth ranks.
Did we get him in the schoolboy class?
We got him in the schoolboy, and he was fast.
Yeah.
Last year he came out, he won the overall big buck.
Okay. You see, that's just it. Some of those kids, whenever they make that transition, some of them, that schoolboy class, they're still kind of a youth age. I get a little bit confused on them, but some of those riders don't come in until that time, and it sounds like Brandon was obviously one of those. But, man, he certainly is making his mark in GNCC. Okay. And it looks like we got our interview, Mike. I think if that's what Landon is looking for, you can come back over to the studio, Landon, and we'll get you taken care of, find out what looks like there's really no problems out there going on. The biggest issue that I've seen today was the false start by Adam McGill. That cost him a 15-second penalty. Whether or not that played into the race, I'm not sure, but I would almost have to think, I think that he laid back since he did that.
I think he did as well. I think he knew he messed up, and he did lay back at that point.
And it might have cost him. I think a lot of times at that point, riders might as well just go on and forget about it, and say, hey, I'm sorry I did it. But Adam laid back, and it got himself in even worse trouble because he was back of the pack, almost went down. And then, of course, losing that 15 seconds like that, it was big. So maybe, next time Adam might second guess and say, well, I might have false started, but I'm going for it because they're going to penalize me anyway. And keep him, at least in the front of the pack, and that time won't be as detrimental, I think, in the future.
Honestly, this track, the way it's laid out, and there could be a bottleneck out there, and he can make 15 seconds up in one lap. You see that? He's keeping his feet dry.
Yeah, Walker Fowler back up on his knees under the bridge. We saw him do that there through lap 2, I guess it was. And does it again here on lap number 3. Monumental lead, as we said. I was making a note of it and alluding to it with Landon a little bit ago. I've talked about this being the most challenging championship season. I think you're realizing that in the WXC class. I think the 4x4 guys are realizing. I think about every class is realizing, except for this XC1 class. Walker Fowler's the only rider right now that appears to be untouchable out there. And I don't know if it comes on the heels of the almost perfect season the year before, followed up by a year where we had 6 different winners. You got to wonder w's the inspiration there.
I totally feel like Walker's year last year has motivated him to, he's not going to play that game again. He's had numerous championships for a reason. He's going to show them why.
And again, down by the covered or the bridge here, and that leads into. Like we said, that coming up that FMF hill climb, that PowerPoint section of the racetrack.
What I can tell you is if Walker gets a whole shot.
Yeah, look out. Even if Walker goes, if they started Walker backwards and he waited till everybody got in the first turn before he turned around and took off, I have to think that somehow or another that guy is amazing at making up time. He's amazing at making passes when you don't think that passes can be made. He
is so smooth. I watched him in quite a few sections this morning when the race part started. He was the smoothest out of them all. He's number one for a reason.
Right, and I don't know, you kind of like it, and there's McGill heading through now. So we're back at the 5th place position. We should be seeing Borch and Wolf and Hart and Gallagher and the rest of those guys coming through here in just a few moments. But, Walker is certainly going to be one tough nut to crack here in 2019.
We have the bridge view right now, and I have to tell you, I made my passes this morning right there. Everybody was tucking in the inside. I just put it right in the outside. Yeah, and here comes Chris, and he's made a couple positions up.
Yeah, he has. That puts him right behind. That should be about 6th place, if I'm not mistaken now. We saw Chris Borch try to pass McGill right there a lap ago. He tried to duck in on the inside of him.
The inside is about 4 feet deep now. Don't recommend it.
And
there's Hunter.
There's Hunter Hart. Now, this kid's been a pretty phenomenal rider. You can't
He is. He's really impressive.
He is. He gets out there.
He's got the heart of a lion.
He does. He tries to lock on with some of those guys up front to try to learn their lines. But, you know, I almost have to wonder if Hunter wouldn't just do his own thing and quit worrying about everything else, do same thing that he's always done, if he wouldn't be a contender for wins. Because he went out there. It wasn't that, you know, he went out to race. He went out to go as fast as he could, as hard as he could for 2 solid hours, and rarely made mistakes. Well, I'm sure he made more than we were aware of. But the thing about it is his leads were so monstrous, and he was right there in the thick of things as far as overalls and things like that on more than one occasion. So what's to say that, hey, that might be a better plan for him? Oh, just got the word, and I wasn't curious. I was curious, but I wasn't for sure. And Landon and I were talking about this, you know, with the lap times and stuff. It appeared that it could be a 4-lap race, but it could also be a 5-lap race. It has been deemed a 5-lap race now. So, and that got us talking about pitting strategies and things of that nature. And wow, so we got riders that pitted on the 2nd lap.
They may be cutting it short.
Yeah.
They may have to pit again.
They may have to pit again, and that could change things. But at the same time, we'll see how fast these next 3 laps go, I guess.
It's a sprint. This race is a sprint. You are going the fast as you can the whole race.
Mileage, gas mileage, fuel mileage. Did you happen to calculate that today, noted or anything like that?
I didn't. I know I took a lot at my pit. I took a lot.
You took more than normal, you would say?
More than normal. It
Really?
took way longer than I wanted it to.
Well, that's interesting. You would think that the conditions would warrant a better gas mileage, but I guess the elevation change, there again, that's taking a lot of horsepower
On
to
the
get up this hill.
backside, there's a lot of hill climbs. Absolutely.
So that's where a lot of that fuel mileage gets burned up, I would imagine. An hour and 6 minutes into this race, working on an hour 7, about 8 minutes out from a 3rd lap complete, and after that we will see the 2-lap board coming out. This is a 5-lap race once again. We got Landon Wolf, I believe, milling around down in the pit area. We're going to be getting some updates from him coming up shortly. But Alicia just watching here right now, 7.5 mile marker. 165 riders on the track here this afternoon. Doesn't seem that the track is too full for this afternoon. You guys had probably 100, 150 or so more than that in this morning's race. What was the track like? Did you have a lot of traffic out there today?
We did run into a lot of traffic, but as dry as it is, we didn't run into the bottlenecks that we usually do. I would say I got through traffic pretty easily, you know.
Really? So that's pretty impressive.
I mean, you battled it, but you just got through it.
Now, did you find any lines beginning to open up this year by any chance?
No.
Nothing?
It's tough. I mean, the lines I picked out yesterday when I biked, they're
gone.
It's the main line.
Oh, is it? Wow. So you know what you're doing. There's Walker Fowler. See if we can get a clock on him there. 18:05 when he went into those trees. We knew that he was 33 seconds, I believe, ahead at the end of lap number 2. I'd already guesstimated 40 seconds at one point in this race. So wait right here. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say we're 45 plus. I think he's pulled it out 45 plus. He's man on a mission, and whether or not he's doing that on purpose that way, I don't know. But that's what the results are.
He's making a statement.
All right, here comes, that's 2nd place right there, right? That was Bryson Neal. We'll pan to the right following these riders, and yeah, we're at 50 seconds. It was 50 seconds, just exactly as I said, over 45. It was right at the 50-second mark that we saw there. So we're right at, I'm sorry, 45-second mark. I just did my math wrong. 45-second mark that we saw there. So, yeah, Walker is continuing to stretch things out here and just roll with a full steam ahead here. An attitude that he's got last year, if you remember. And I don't know if we have highlights from last year's race here or not, but that last lap, I mean, you talk about, I mean, it was that moment where you've been there. I mean, you just stop for a second, and it's nothing that you've never done before. You know, nothing usually ever changes. You know, everybody stops at one time. But at that particular moment, whenever it happened, a couple of guys tried to take advantage of it, and Adam McGill did, and he did it very, he took a risk, took a gamble.
He totally capitalized on it.
But capitalized monumentally and took the big win out here last year. And I'm sure that doesn't seed well with Walker Fowler. Walker does not like to lose. And
No, I'm sure that's totally playing in his mind today.
yeah, and and as great a champion as he is, as great an individual as he is, and the great a personality, the one thing that fuels him is the competition. And there are certain things that really burn him up. If he hears somebody say during an interview, hears somebody say that I've got the speed, I think I'm going to ride with Walker, I'm going to keep up with him.
He's going to show him that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes him mad, and he tries to prove them wrong. And it's funny. I mean, I've walked in there, and he'd be like, I mean, just walking and frustrated. Man, do these guys really think they can do that? And that's just the spirit of competition. It's to know Walker on a personal level, to know him on a professional level. I mean,
absolutely,
just an amazing person. I mean,
everybody's out there shooting for the same goal. Everybody wants to win, but he's number one.
He wants to win, but there's no arrogance in it. There's no.
He's humble.
Exactly.
He is humble.
He's a very humble champion, but he is a hungry, humble champion at the same time.
Everybody is, absolutely. We're going out there for the same goal.
So Neal now some 45 seconds behind Walker Fowler in second. Richardson, McClure right there. Adam McGill about a minute off pace. Chris Borich closing up that. Actually, Chris got around Adam. Didn't we notice that at the bridge there a moment ago, right?
Yep.
So Chris is around Adam McGill right now. Race fans trying to reposition himself on the racetrack before the next rider comes through. And to be a GNCC racing fan, you got to be quick on your feet.
This is a really fast track. I think my average speed was 22 miles an hour.
Wow, and what is an average speed generally for a GNCC?
I would say 18,
really?
Around 18. This is really fast.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. I know normally a few years ago we were at a pace where we were at, I think it was 23 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, these guys are probably going like 25.
Yeah, on average of 25. Yeah, we were like 23, but yeah, that's fast. I mean, that morning program is really picking up. Walker Fowler through here at this Yamaha section now. Trying to figure, let's see, with those guys being only 3 minutes out, that should be putting us, wow, close to that, what's a 9-mile marker, maybe someplace in that neighborhood. So I see it down there in the corner now. Durka-dur, look at the TV, Rodney. There goes Bryson Neal through. There is third and fourth place positions as well. And
they're all right there.
Yeah, still Richardson
still
and McClure.
battling.
And they're right behind Bryson Neal.
Sneaky Snake has a name for a reason, Sneaky Snake, and we'll wonder if he's going to pull it off today.
And this is when he gets in these positions right here, this is how he's able to make it
Absolutely.
happen. Now, he might not be able to Sneaky Snake a win because, I mean, that.
I think the battle is just behind Walker. That's really how it is.
And I was saying this, it kind of likens me back to the U-Haul Salmon days on the two-wheel days where it became a feat, and it became a battle for second place. Everybody said, well, he's going to win. Let's battle it out for second, and that was the way it was for the championship, too. Hey, we got Landon Wolf down in the pits. We were talking about Devin Feehan earlier and the fact that he wasn't riding. Let's find out why. All right, well, we'll check back in with him as soon as we get things dialed in there. Hear more of our XC1 riders. What? I didn't catch that number. Who is that?
That's McGill.
Okay, that is McGill. That is McGill. Man, McGill is on fire right now. He looks like things have really turned around for him. He's back in an aggressive riding mode right now.
He looks really good.
Okay.
All right, we're going to dump it back to Landon. He is in the pits with Devin Feehan.
Hey guys, so we don't have Devin Feehan, but we have his dad, Steve Feehan. Sounds like Devin Feehan didn't even line up today on the starting line this morning. I think it caught a couple people off guard. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened or what's going on?
Yeah, sure. He was down earlier this week trying to get some ride time in down in North Carolina, and got coming out of a field section, going into the woods, grabbed a stump, and it put him right into a tree. And his left shoulder hit the tree pretty hard. And he just, he's really pretty banged up, so we decided not a good idea to race today. He needs to let that rest and see if he can come back and, he'll be fine, but he's just got to give us some time.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Devin's in for the long run. We still got a long season ahead of us, so hopefully we'll see him here in 2 weeks in Camp Coker.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
Alrighty, so there you have it, straight from the pits, Devin Feehan, and unfortunately for him, sitting this out, but it might be a wise choice, and you got to look at the longevity. You know, is the risk and gamble worth it at this particular point? And like those guys, I have to say no, maybe not, likely not.
No, it's a long season and it's early on, so I think he's playing his card smart.
Alrighty, so we are late this time. Walker Fowler should be checking in at some particular point. And I thought that the lap time should be getting longer. And there he is in the pro pit. So he's running about a minute off pace. I don't know what would have slowed him down. Lap traffic.
Traffic for sure.
He's thick into that. I don't know whether he was saluting that guy or telling him to get out of the way. Two-lap board is out. And Walker Fowler checks in with lap 3 complete, 25:19 lap time that time around. That's about a minute longer, just like we said, as opposed to the previous lap. And now we wait on Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure in that heated battle for the number 2 spot. And here they come, I believe.
Who is it?
That's a lapped rider, I believe. No, that is Bryson Neal, I believe, still in the number.
It's still a 3-way battle right there.
Yeah, it is. There
you see that?
Yeah.
You know, was that?
I don't know.
That
Maybe
was
Neal's in third. Yeah, Neal's in third now, I think. All right, let's see here. Cole Richardson, yep, he did get the pass. That's what I was noticing. I was looking at the wrong guy, and then I noticed the battle behind him was Cole Richardson and Bryson Neal. Neal is in that number 3 spot. Cole Richardson second. Lap time, get this, 25:19. He matched Walker Fowler's lap time. Pretty impressive.
The kid's got it. He does have it.
The only thing that stinks for Cole Richardson is he's 34.5 seconds behind Walker Fowler. I think right now, if anybody's got anything for Fowler, it is the Cole train. Bryson, and maybe Bryson.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole battle is right behind Walker. I mean, they're going to get into lap traffic here. Anything could happen.
Yeah, and that could tighten things up, and we could see the same kind of scenario shape up for Walker as we saw last year. He was in a little different situation with those guys nose to tail, but hey, we still got 2 laps to go. A lot of things can happen between now and that checker flag, so just because Walker is turning and burning and saying C you wouldn't want to be, don't mean that that's the way it's going to remain.
Absolutely. A good buddy of mine, Tracy Pickens, told me you never know what's happening with everybody else's race. You keep pushing as hard as you can.
Right, no matter how bad you feel your day is going. And so I've heard people say that, and they thought that their day was horrible, and they end up winning or getting a second or something that, in the end, paid off huge dividends as far as championship points were concerned. So right now, an hour and 17 minutes into this one, we are watching. We got the top 5 in: Fowler, Richardson, Neal, McClure, and Adam McGill.
We got Amy Hart here pacing. She's just waiting for Hunter.
Yep, that's Mama Hart right there.
Yep.
She's got the goggles in hand.
What you never do is you never come between a mama and her racing boy.
No, you do not.
That's is that Wesley Wolf checking in?
I think it is. I believe it is. Let's see if that's the case. No, that might be Chris Borch.
Yep.
No, that is Wolf.
That is Wolf.
Was Wolf.
Borch is behind him.
Yeah. 46 seconds back now. It's Wesley Wolf. Man, he was 8th place at the beginning of this lap. He's moved up from 8th now into a 6th place.
That's pretty impressive.
That is. Wesley, you know, and the neat thing about it, talking to Wesley today, he said he's having fun for a change. This is the first time in the last couple of years that he's had fun because, you know, he just accepted the circumstance and situation that he doesn't get to train. He has to work, and things are a little different in his program. And he says, since I've accepted that, you know, things have gotten a lot easier.
Absolutely.
He says he's out here for the fun. And
if you're not having fun, it's not fun. You shouldn't do it.
Exactly. And
I found that out. It's all about having fun, honestly.
Are you having fun?
I'm having fun.
I bet you are. Walker Fowler now, Monster Mile. That Monster Mile in relation to our racetrack out near, that's probably about the 1 3/4 or 2/3 mile marker or so. So they're pushing toward the 2 mile marker right now. So we're saying 1.5. So Walker again.
He doesn't have any company. Real close.
34. Now wait a minute. I want to look into something here. We saw a 40-some second gap. Or 30-some second gap, and then 40-some seconds in the woods at one point. Cole Richardson brought that back down to 34.5 seconds. So Cole actually gaining on Walker, like we said, noted maybe that lap traffic is paying bigger dividends than what we realized. And now that they've seen Walker go through, and when they hear Cole coming, they're going to get out of the way. That may pay big dividends for Cole Richardson and might be able to close this up and put him in the same kind of situation as he was in last year, but wasn't able to capitalize on.
I really feel like if they can see Walker, I mean, not that Walker doesn't have it, but they can try to reel him in. It's really about seeing your competition. It pushes you.
And Walker realizes that, and that's the number one thing. There's Dave right there. That is Dave Richardson. That is
his mechanic, Aaron Florick.
Yep, that's Cole Richardson's crew right now. They're pacing and.
They are pacing.
Well, they're seeing what we're seeing. You know, they saw Cole fall back. They saw Cole dig back up, and they see him matching the lap time of Walker Fowler, and they see that he is now 34.5 seconds behind, and they also realize where we are in this race. They've played this game before.
Absolutely.
They know the leader's going to end up likely slowing down in these last couple of laps, which will afford the people behind him a better opportunity to catch him. So we'll see. Will that be the way it plays out here in the hills of North Carolina and the mountains, I guess I should say, the foothills of these beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains that, again, one of the most, in my opinion, the most picturesque.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Get down there by that creek. I mean, you know, as a general rule, you look around and you say, maybe not. It's just a bunch of trees and mountains around you. But,
it's beautiful.
But once you stop and look at these trees and mountains, all of a sudden it becomes a whole new place, no doubt. Well, we see our GNCC track crew. There's some of our stewards that work the starting line out trying to man the Monster Mile.
Here we come.
Jamie Jenkins, Bryson Jenkins, Kevin Ward out there making things happen.
We're back at the Monster Mile.
Yep.
Looking for direction.
Yeah, so Chris Boris just came through, and I don't know, they're giving that, I don't know what the idea behind this rider, they're giving them some kind of instructions or something, so something.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous I didn't get to hit that this morning. It looked awesome.
Oh, okay, maybe, there's an option line around that then?
There is.
Okay, that might be, that they may have decided to go the option line, that's what they're there for.
You see him go off to the left there.
Yeah. All right, so that explains a little bit. This is the 1.5 mile marker, again, out at the Monster Mile. And again, Walker Fowler continues to lead. And it sounds like we might have some information unfolding in the pits. Let's check in with Landon Wolf.
All right, guys, Landon Wolf down here with Amy Hart, Hunter Hart's mother. Hunter got off to a pretty decent start. Doesn't look like he really was running the pace he was running at round number 1 and round number 2. Any idea of anything you can fill us in on what's going on?
We did have a small mechanical issue that we had to take care of in the pit stop, but we got him going and he's back to going now. He's in 8th place and charging, so we're hoping to move up a little bit, knock off a couple people between now and the next 2 laps. So we're hopeful, but he's running as hard as he can right now.
All right, so we're just out here trying to salvage some points, but still a pretty decent day for, considering the circumstances.
Anything in the top 10 is a decent day.
Absolutely. Back to you guys in the booth.
But I tell you what, a mama, man, her and Papa. The Jeff Hart is also a great race father. I remember Hunter broke his leg one time when he was in the youth ranks. I had a broken leg. His dad carried him.
I remember that.
It was in Kentucky. Carried him throughout the entire race course to check out the race, to check out the track, and then Hunter, with a cast, a full leg cast, raced the next day. And if I'm not mistaken, he won or got 2nd place with a full cast.
You're absolutely right.
That was crazy. But the kid's phenomenal.
Heart. That's what it is. Heart. Hunter Hart, but it's full of heart.
Yeah, he is full of heart. They spell it wrong.
It's something you can't teach, but the kid's definitely got it.
And you know, I don't know who the most aggressive or most hungry one of the parents are. Both Jeff and Amy are very competitive.
I totally agree.
They're so competitive.
I love them so much.
I mean, not with each other, but they're just competitive. You know, they like racing. They got a shop up in New York, Ithaca, New York, Ithaca Recreations. Of course, with that, you know, up out of New York, there's a lot of great talent. I think, I think Hunter, a big part of that. What is it? The
Wainoa. Well,
Wainoa, yes.
It's now Nioa.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
YOA.
Yeah.
He was. He's been a big part of that series for a really long time. It's pretty local to us. And we also have Ben Kalewski. He's from Central, a little bit north of us, from Pennsylvania. He's doing awesome in the.
Yeah,
right at the New York border.
Yeah, right there on the New York border.
Series.
He runs the now Nioa Series, I guess is what to say.
Absolutely.
And actually, he is our amateur of the week, and we had a chance to catch up with Ben Kowalewski.
Ben Kowalewski, and I race XC2 Pro. I've been riding my whole life. And then once we got into racing and stuff, we started Wainoa, and I just always wanted to do hair scrambles. I don't know, the hair scramble just caught my eye way more than anything else. So then we started doing that, and then we progressed pretty fast in the local series, and then we raced the GNCC race at Unadilla 2016. I raced the College A line. I ended up winning that line. I ended up winning my class and then top amateur overall. And then the next year, I think we jumped right into GNCC to see what we could do. We didn't go to College A though, we went right to XC2. The first race in, I got my best overall yet, so that was a 12th. And my competition this year, there's a lot of good competition. Galata's on fire right now, Landers is on fire. Once I just got to get with them guys for one race and just stick with them and then finish the race out with them so I can get that speed, but they've been on fire this year. So there's another couple fast guys, Lindell, a lot of fast guys this year. Luckily, my boss is my brother-in-law, so he's pretty cool with me taking the time off and coming down for the weekend and then going back to work Monday. So I usually get like Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and I get to go back Monday. And he's cool with it, so it works out really good. I don't think it puts me at too much of a disadvantage. I train real hard, so I'm not too stressed out about everybody else riding because I'll get the ride time in towards the end of the season when it counts, the end of the off-season. So once I get my ride time in and I train real hard all winter, coming to the first race, I'm not stressed out. I know I did all I could do, so hopefully next year we can go down south a little bit more and train a little bit more, get used to the heat more, and then we'll come back to Florida again, ready for the heat. GNCC in one word would be addictive. It's like, something about it just pulls you back in, like you always want more. You just want to keep going with it and just want to see how far you can go. And to do it the right way and like make sure you finish every race and they're doing good every race, it takes a lot and it just keeps pushing you and pushing you and pushing you in. So that's why I think addictive is the best word for GNCC.
Well, there you go. So that's the heart of it right there. You know, we focus on the XC1 pros and talk about this guy and that guy and maybe the XC2 guys. But the heart of the GNCC Racing Nation lies back there in those A, B, C classes.
Absolutely. Those guys coming up through, they've worked so hard to get there, and they have.
And the thing is, many of them may have no aspirations, dreams, or desires of ever racing a pro race. They just want to do as well as they can in the class that they can race at that particular time. And that's the heart of it all. That's what makes GNCC.
And like they said about Ben, his parents didn't let him race till he was 16 because he was a little guy. I mean, that's just where I'm like, aw. And look at him now; he's killing it.
Yeah. So can you imagine where he'd be if he would have started at a younger age?
Yeah.
But hey, who knows? He may have been burned out on it and not want anything.
Absolutely.
To do with it. So might have been the best thing his mommy and daddy did for him there. As we roll through lap number 4 now of a 5-lap race. We are on the 2-lap board. We will be seeing a white flag.
There's Walker coming through,
13
keeping
minutes.
his feet dry again.
Yep, Walker's done that every single time, and I swear it looks like that hole is getting more shallow.
That is the best line, right where he went. Everybody was tucking to the inside. The outside's the best line.
Water did not seem to be all that deep on the outside at all, really.
I mean, you can see the rocks coming through right there.
Yeah, and they, like I say, they have tried to pump some of that out to keep the damages down from some of the vehicles. There goes one of our morning ATV riders off and out, it looks like. I like the way they got that thing stacked in the back of that truck.
I know, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've seen whenever they put 2 ATVs in a van.
Is this Cole coming through? No, this is Bryson.
Yeah, Bryson Neal in that number 2 spot. Yeah, so Cole had gotten around. And now it doesn't look like he's even
I think he's closing the gap up a little bit.
Yeah, and there's no sense of urgency like he's got somebody behind him right now. I think that was Coltrane there that just went through. If I'm not mistaken, on the black plastic machine. Wow, what happened there? I mean, we were looking at a nose-to-tail battle. Last time we saw them, there was 35 seconds that separated Richardson and Fowler. Bryson Neal was about a half second behind him.
Is this Cole coming?
Another second behind him.
We have somebody coming in hot. It's a Yamaha for sure. It's Cole? Yes, it's Cole.
Okay.
So he's dropped back a little bit. Like I said, like attrition could play a huge part. lappers coming, and there's nowhere to go when you get a lapper.
Well, that's a task and a job right now for Landon Wolf to find out what's going on out there right now. That's got these guys separated, at least Bryson Neal from the rest of the pack, and what happened behind him right now. As we wait with bated breath, we'll probably be seeing, I would think, McClure coming through. Or actually, McClure might have been the rider that I thought.
He might have been a Honda. They were pretty covered in mud. You couldn't really tell.
But next week, McGill should be coming through here pretty soon. So, wow. Unless we misspoke there, missaw, maybe, I don't know. I don't think so, because that was Walker, and then like 30,
we have
40
a Honda
seconds
coming
later.
through now.
And that's McClure right there, is it not? Is that the number 2? No, that's
McGill.
That's McGill now.
Yep.
So that McClure must
I think
have been
McClure
in there.
must have came through already.
Right. So, all right. So we got Fowler, seen Richardson, Neal, then Richardson. I think McClure and McGill. So that's still that's our top 5. So we got our top 5. But man, they're spread so much different now than what.
They were right there battling. I mean, this is pretty interesting to see how it's going to. Absolutely.
That's and
we have a shot of Walker coming up.
Yep, that's a 7.5 mile marker again, and I guess I should have put a clock on that one, but we'll see how much, and we'll get a feel for it here.
The lines opened up here during my race. It was interesting to see, like, that high line was the fastest line. But
not so much maybe anymore, huh?
No.
All right. Well, we're approaching that 30-second mark or so we should be seeing Bryson Neal pop out of this section by the sliding board here pretty soon. The playground. There he is.
Here he is. Yep,
Right.
he took the high line. It was still the faster line, I think.
So Bryson Neal, now I don't think he's within that. I mean, he's about still that 35, 40-second mark. He's not necessarily closed up a lot of gap on Walker right this second, but there's
Sneaky Snake.
Yeah, McClure checking in.
He's right there.
So third place, there's him. And
I'd like to see him put a good race together.
That was the rider that I thought was actually I mistook for Cole Richardson just because of process of elimination.
I actually had the opportunity to ride with Jared a lot over the winter in Jersey. We call that the Florida of the North, and the kid was ripping.
No doubt about that in my mind. I don't think that was. Oh, okay, that was Chris Borch going through there. I think that was the Hunter Hart, Johnny Gallagher, Chris Borch battle.
Pretty happy to see Hunter go back to his yellow bike.
I know, right?
Cole and Hunter both running black bikes kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, and you got Chris Borch running one, Hunter running one now, and
Wesley Wolf
running one. So, but Hunter's riding a Yamaha.
Yep.
He's just got yellow plastics on the Yamaha.
Front end's a little bit different. There's a little more.
Radio. So here we go now, folks.
They're due to come back this way.
I guess
Walker should be coming any second.
Yep. So we'll get this, and then let's try to get a clock on them this time, Alicia, and see if we can get an accurate deficit between the first and second place position.
I can tell you in this section right before this turn, there's a good line, but I can't tell you it's faster. I mean, he's going to take that line to get around lap traffic, but it's not a line for a pass looking for, time to make up for Bryson and Cole and McGill. I mean, they have their work cut out for them.
Well, we'll be watching here with bated breath again, waiting on that number 1 Yamaha of Walker Fowler to make his way back into sight here at the 7.5 mile marker as we roll toward the closing moments. We'll see a white flag next time around. Still a little more than a lap to go of this race.
Here comes Walker. Now he's going to go up this hill. He has 2 lappers in front of him, so he's not going to be able to go as fast as he really wants to.
Walker in and out of sight now as he continues to maintain. We've got a clock on to see what that gap is, so as soon as we see him around that turn, that'll give us an idea of who is where or how far it is back. So we are approaching, there's 26 seconds now. We're at the 30-second mark, so I'm going to say any time now we should be seeing Bryson Neal pop around the turn. There's 35 seconds. So he's right there in that 35-second range. So he hasn't really lost or gained anything right now on Walker. But the rest of the field, it looks like
he's pulling away a little bit. Absolutely.
you got to wonder if something happened to those guys that slowed them down. And again, going out on a limb here, I almost have to say, like the lap traffic, it could have been one of those tight sections. Bryson was able to thread a needle, Cole couldn't, you know, and maybe a situation similar to what Cole saw himself let the wind slip away last year after last year's near win. Amazing, you know, especially if he could end up pulling it off. I mean, you know, don't count him out yet, you know. I mean, we're an hour and 35 minutes.
There's still a lot of racing left to do.
A lot of racing. We haven't even seen the white flag. We're 6 minutes away from the white flag, and we've already seen a lot of changes, and we see that, you know, conditions could be warranting that, lap traffic could be warranting that, but whatever the case is, the same thing could happen to Walker Fowler, so this race could turn around. And, you know, with watching Cole Richardson here today, been a phenomenal ride for him. Let's check in with the pits right now down there with Landon Wolf, who's standing by with Dave to find out what's going on.
So here I am down in Pro Pits with Dave Richardson, Cole's dad. Cole was having a heck of a race. Sounds like he might have jumped into the number 2 spot, but you've got some news over there on the other side of Pro Pits. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just giving you what the guys told me over there. He come out of the woods on some pretty big bumps, come out, and the front end, something broke. We lost a weld on the front end, and it stuck the front end. The yard darted, and next thing you know, it was end over end, and our day's over. So I just wish he could catch a break.
Yeah, it's a tough break for him. I know he's having a killer day, but I'm sure he'll be back in Coker ready for more.
Yeah, he'll be back for sure. He's actually a little shaken up, but physically it looks like he's okay.
All right, hope the best for Cole, but we'll see how that changes things up for the rest of the guys.
That explains why we haven't been able to see Cole and wondering where's he at? Man, that's a heartbreaker there. Hate that for Cole because he was rolling full steam ahead here today. A little bit of breathing room there for Bryson Neal. Gives him that break, but also should tighten things up, I think, for Jared McClure. Give him a little bit of time to work out things here. This could get interesting for that second place position, and all of a sudden Adam McGill's got himself in a position where he could see another podium position.
Absolutely.
Ride. We've seen that, I think, through the first 2 rounds. We've seen, Walker Fowler.
And here we have Cole.
There's Cole right there.
Very unfortunate for him. I'm glad to see he's okay.
Well,
never like to see anything like this
right,
happen.
you don't. And remember, we pointed out he was matching lap times and looked to be maybe.
If anybody had it today, it was Cole.
It was. If anybody was going to be able to close in on Walker.
I think this will just fuel him. I mean, he's going to work hard. He's going to rebound, and he's going to come back strong.
I believe you're right. I hope it doesn't knock any wind out of ourselves. In all honesty, there's Walker Fowler, but in all honesty, his sponsor should be completely stoked right now and pouring everything they can into him to keep the momentum going. Because
absolutely,
this is just a hiccup. It's not a situation that's going to ruin the season or ruin the year, ruin his career. It's just a little hiccup.
It's racing.
It is
racing.
And how he recovers out of this one mentally, and hopefully there's nothing wrong with him physically after the little get off, and we'll know more about that. He doesn't appear to be physically hurt. It's even a little bit of a smile.
I think his four-wheeler's more hurt than anything.
Right. So Landon Wolf.
Was it here last year? He had a pretty nasty gut. Oh, it was Coker last year.
Yeah,
he had a nasty gut off.
Landon Wolf down there. Let's see. Landon, see if you can grab a word with Cole real quick. We'll get the actual word. There's Bryson Neal now. This is out that 9-mile marker. Neal in that second place position, still running in that 40-second range behind, 39 seconds. Looks like no change. There's ahead of the Yamaha hill climb. Cole Richardson in. He didn't look to be physically. Look at this. Is that a battle between 2 pro riders, or is that a couple amateur riders? I think that was just a couple amateur riders. But man, what a battle
There's
they got.
split lines going up that hill.
And there's where you can find those little passing opportunities. So we should be seeing, I think, McClure and McGill here, if that wasn't one of them that just went through a moment ago, which I don't believe was. But man, what a heartbreaker for Cole Richardson. I mean, I still thought he was battling out there, and I kept looking for him. Well, there's a reason why I couldn't find him and why I think that might be him, but I'm not sure type scenarios. And
it really is a heartbreaker, but I mean, he's going to come back.
Yes. All right. So headed to the Yamaha hill climb pass. That's the Yamaha hill climb. got a little bit of a gap right now to the pro pits. I'm going to take a moment right now, and we're going to check in with top 5 in some of these classes. Let's check back in with the College A after 3. Keep an eye on that screen for me if you would, Alicia. Dylan Walraven leading. Noah Mickelson now up to 2nd. He was in 5th at the end of that first lap, so things are going pretty good there. Cameron Abey is running 3rd. Tyler Swindle, the 073 from Canby, Indiana, running in 4th. And Davis Brinson from Hendersonville, North Carolina, in 5th place. As we look next at the Junior A 22+ class, Bruce Weiland Jr. leading Luke Shepard by 22 seconds. 44 of Shepard out of Marion, Ohio. Elkins, West Virginia, home to J.D. Brown, the 415 in 3rd. Justin Miller, the 41 from Hughesville, Maryland, in 4th. In 5th place, Nick Davidson from Steubenville, Ohio. The Vet A 30+ class, Kevin Yoho, former XC1 Pro Class rider, as was Jeff Pickens, a former XC1. AJ Kuntz, Tom Kuntz was a former
We call them
XC1,
the working men.
The working men, and
Yep.
that's what they are. They worked as pros. They work now, they're fast. They're still fast. Yoho, Pickens, Kuntz, 1, 2, and 3. Mike Lancaster, another fast rider there in that Vet A 30+ class. He's 4th out of Morgantown, West Virginia. Travis Austin from Marshville, North Carolina, rounds out your top 5, and I imagine he's thinking, man, I'm the fastest guy around here. How these guys beat me like that?
Absolutely.
Senior A 40+ class, Brian Shaw, the 828.
We're checking in the pits right now. We see
another
Walker
pit
coming
stop.
in. Yep.
That answers the question,
A
Alicia.
longer race.
Answers
2
the
pits.
Yep. Will they stop? And Walker.
But you can't beat that pit stop. Did you see that? That was like
it was just
4
a splash.
seconds.
Yeah, it
Yep.
was just a splash. They
Yep.
just wanted to ensure that they had enough gas to get that final lap. As Walker Fowler takes the white flag, 1 lap to go. A year ago, it was a nose-to-tail battle as we saw Cole Richardson right on his rear wheels and Adam
We see
McGill.
Bryson coming around,
And
not
this year,
far off.
Yeah, and this year, a little bit different scenario as Walker was able to stretch things out in the early goings of this one. The battle waged on behind him, and now Bryson Neal has secured and solidified, at least so far, with 1 lap to go, that 2nd place position, barring no issues, no problems for that rider. He should be able to carry it on home. Now, will he stop for a pit stop? Let's see here. And that's how much farther ahead.
I hope he will.
Yes, he does. Now, remember, he's the one.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida bit him hard.
Yep.
And they're not taking any chances. They
Nope,
took a
just a
lot more
splash.
gas. But they took a lot more gas, a little bit more.
Here comes Jared. See if, did he stop?
McClure, I do not believe, stopped. McClure
No,
did not
McClure
stop.
did not stop.
That could play a role in
Absolutely.
his position. So, all right, let's go up here and check in. We see that there's McClure in at the finish line now, and that puts him in a much tighter contested position for 2nd right now, as it brings him to 7.5 seconds out of that number 3 spot or 2 spot behind Bryson Neal. Cole Richardson's, we'll see his name fading down the leaderboard right now, but we know he will not be checking in for another lap, as he did have that little get off. There is checking in right now. That is not an XC1 rider. That is actually Jace Denny out of Jackson, Ohio, the 617 College A rider. And not sure where Jace is in that College A class. I think he was just outside the top 10 in College A. He was running top 10, but no. So, yeah, he's 12th place. He was running a lot better than that earlier today, but nonetheless, -1 third. So he's 3rd, and he's negative a 2nd. Is that what it's saying? I think he was. I think that gap was bigger than that. That might be a code of some sorts that we're not aware of. More riders checking in here at the finish line. There's Jacob Scott out of the Junior A 22+ class out of Vincent, Ohio, checking in. So far, no more XC1 riders, as we've got Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Jared McClure, 7.5 seconds. So maybe Jared was able to make up some time out there. No, Adams, I got you. That was a sign to let him know he was up another position because of Richardson out, I believe. So now Adam McGill is actually into a 4th place position. And McGill does not stop for a pit stop. But look at him. And he looks like he's riding faster now than he was in the early part of the race. It's almost like Adam McGill's got some sort of inspiration. I don't know if it's somebody behind him or not, but he's got a 2-minute gap between himself and a podium position finish. Do you think that Adam McGill could make up 2 minutes in 1 lap of racing? Boy, he sure rides like he thinks he can right now.
You know what? Confidence is key. I think he can. I think he can.
I believe it's possible. We'll see whether or not it happens, especially the last lap. Things start tightening up. Riders get cross-rutted. They get stuck, bottleneck. There are a number of things that can bring this race to the favor of Adam McGill on the turn of a dime. Right now, only 4 riders have checked in. That last lap really separated.
It makes you wonder what's going on out there.
I know. It does. I mean, there's a huge separation, and we saw it.
Big gap.
About lap 3 on. Lap 3 was huge, and an even bigger separation in lap 4. You got to wonder what's going to be going on by the end of lap number 5. Now we're 45 minutes into this race. Just to give you an idea, Walker checked in with lap 4 completed in 1 hour and 41. That was about 4 minutes too quick for them to be able to call it a race. But we're only going to be maybe 5 minutes, if that, over the 2-hour mark anyway. So it's not like it's going to be an extremely long race.
We got a rider. Oh, he got through. There's a rider stuck up at the hill.
And that's the kind of situations that unfold that make these gaps open up and tighten up both.
So to say the track is falling apart.
Well, it could be. I mean, areas of it. And I'll tell you, I've ridden these things after a weekend of racing, and it blows me away. You ride it on a Friday where it's
perfect.
Yeah, it is. They go through, we reclaim it every year, and it's like riding a roller coaster. I mean, you G out in some of those valleys and stuff like that. It's so much fun.
Hunter Hart in here at the pits. He's taking his second pit.
It was a quick one, too. Just a quick splash. They're just wanting to ensure that they get enough gas to get
Nobody
through
wants
there.
to be in that position.
Right. So like I was saying, this track definitely got a lot of great flow, a lot of fun to it. Hunter Hart checks in 6th place now behind Chris Borch. I didn't see whether or not Chris actually pitted or not, but Chris Borch is up to 5th. He's 1 minute and 35 seconds behind Adam McGill. He had a 38-second lead over Hunter Hart. Wow, again, the gaps. I mean,
It's really opened up.
It has. I mean, this is. I'm perplexed. I mean, I'm not. It's not one of those things where it's just like I don't get it. I mean, we usually see these guys so much tighter, and especially with the races.
Georgia, they were all together.
Right.
Like this year, they've been all together.
And it's so intense through the early part of that race that. Yeah, I mean, something. I mean, I
hoping to see some GoPro footage posted and see what's going on out there.
I'm with you. I think it's got to be lap traffic. Guys
Absolutely.
get caught on the hillsides. One guy gets through, one guy don't. There's just a number of things, and like you say, a lot of one-line stuff out there. So those lap riders might be trying to get over, but it might be a while before they can actually get over.
That's absolutely the case. I mean, I screamed at a lot of people today. I lost my voice, but I mean, they can't get over. We have Adam McGill coming up through the Monster Mile.
And again, McGill is your 5th place ride as we roll through here at about that 3.5 mile marker, 1.5 mile marker. Sorry about that. We were looking at a couple of classes there a few moments ago. We'll take another look at some more riders in just a few moments. We'll catch the back side of this Monster Mile with Adam McGill coming down through, I think, here in a moment. And then we'll have some footage by the creek at near the 3 mile marker. I'll tell you what, watching Walker Fowler, you have to wonder what is it that makes Walker click? I mean, there's a lot going on there. You know as well as I do, talent, heart, determination, will has a lot to do with it. But you know as well as I do, it's not all one on that, man. I mean, you got a machine that you have to rely upon too, and the consistency lies within the consistency of the person racing, the competitor, and his machine at the same time. So with that, how do they keep that kind of stuff working like that? Well, I'll tell you right now, Walker Fowler's got one of the best in the business, and that really neat story. We've talked a little bit about it in the past before. A former racer turned pro mechanic, and he becomes a national champion right along with his buddy. Let's check in with our mechanic of the week, Mark Notman.
Mark Notman with WFR Yamaha, mechanic for Walker Fowler. I grew up racing locally when I was 5 or 6. Started in GNCC, I think 2003 in the Open B class. Made my way up through the ranks through A class. We're XC2 into the XC1 class in 2011, raced 2011, 2012. And at the end of 2012, decided to hang up the helmet and went to work for Walker. We've been close friends since I was probably 10 or 12, I think, is when I first met Walker at local races, and become really good friends. At the end of 2012, he needed a mechanic, and kind of worked out. You know, I wanted to stay around the industry, still come to races, everything, so it was a good fit. Been having a lot of fun with it. Here we are in the 7th year working together, 4 championships, and hopefully add a 5th one at the end of the year. It's been an awesome experience, you know, obviously being friends, you know, before all of it, I think it makes it even that much better. You know, we kind of, you know, we obviously knew each other before we started working together, so, you know, we knew how each other was like, and then obviously there was, you know, the transition between, you know, just being friends and then obviously him being my boss. You know, but it's a cool experience. It's cool to be, you know, be here with him and, you know, winning races and championships, and, you know, it's a cool experience. Then other than working for Walker, I also work for Johnny Gallagher, prep all his stuff, build his new bikes, and then just this year I started wrenching for Drew Landers as well. So hopefully we can, obviously, main goal is to get Walker another championship, but it'd be cool to get a XC2 championship with Drew Landers as well.
Mark is the man. I mean, he really is the man.
He is. And here's the thing, you know, you talk about a good program. You know, champions are built, you know, on the talent, obviously, but it's also built with everything, you know.
It's a whole
right
program.
It is. And you have to, and I have to agree, man, when a mechanic and a rider are tight, that's usually when you get
It has to click. It really has to.
I mean, when they're good friends off the track, it really makes a world of difference, because it's something about that mechanic makes him work. He knows he makes him work that much harder.
He wants it just as much as that racer does.
And
Absolutely.
they feel it together. I mean,
Yeah.
Walker has won 4 national championships, but Walker and Mark have won 4 national championships together, and that's the way they both look at it. And I think that's great camaraderie, and that makes a great team, and that's another thing that makes Walker such a great champion. Watching down here in the BP Fuels Pro Row right now, we see all the pits are pretty much empty.
Yeah, I think they're really going in for that second pit stop.
Yeah, everybody's
Worried about the long race.
Yeah, and if they got it done, they got it done. It's just right now, if you didn't do it, are you going to be able to make this last lap? That's the big question, right? Well, Landon Wolf is down in the pits right now. I know a lot of things have been going on down there today, Landon. A lot of crazy things. Some things we find out about, some things we don't. But wow, what a story from out of the pits here at Steele Creek.
Yeah, so I don't have anybody down here to talk to, but yeah, we had just a really interesting day down here in the pits. We had Walker Fowler obviously getting out into an early lead. Jared McClure's been running a heck of a race. Chris and Wesley did some battling. Wesley ended up coming through a little bit late. Actually looks like his bike, no, that isn't his bike, but he came through a little bit late this lap. Cole Richardson, devastating day for him, but yeah, it's been interesting down here, but that's it for us, and I guess we're going to head up to the finish line and wait up there for the leaders, which should be coming through pretty soon.
Alrighty, and speaking of which, we're about actually 13 minutes out from our leaders checking in. Keep an eye on that monitor. I'm going to go through some more of these amateur classes as I take a look at that Bet A class one more time. Kevin Yoho, Jeff Pickens, AJ Kuntz, I guess, Mike Lancaster, Travis Austin, your top 5 in that one. We talked about those guys a little bit ago.
We have Walker Fowler coming up through underneath the bridge.
So let's see, will he do it again? He does do it again.
1:53.34. That's the best line. Where you at?
Yeah, so keep an eye. We got about 40 seconds or so, maybe 30, maybe less. Who knows?
Maybe
we'll
he's closing the gap up.
So let's wait and see where that happens to be for the number 4 of Bryson Neal. I have such a tough time associating Bryson Neal with the number 4.
I agree.
I keep thinking
2.
Yeah, and I used to think Chris Borch was number 2. Now I think he's number 4, and he's number 3, and yeah, and Jared McClure, I keep thinking he's number 4, and he's number 2.
So, I agree.
Interesting, and the reason that is those top 10 numbers change like that. each year because a lot of those guys like to ride their national ranked numbers. Now, Adam McGill, on the other hand, he rides the 521. And there is the 521, I believe, was it not?
It was. I don't know if we missed Neil. We missed Neil.
Or maybe that was Neil. I don't know. I keep seeing
I think that was.
I keep seeing that gear, and I think that looks a lot like the gear that Adam. And
Yeah,
when I see it,
you're right.
It triggered. So that was Bryce Neal. I apologize. That gear from a race or two ago really stands out in my mind for him, but for McGill for some reason. But that's not the case today. It's Bryce Neal. He's loud out there on the racetrack. Senior A, hey, there goes my truck. Oh, that ain't my truck. It's just like my truck, though. Brian Shaw, John South. I thought somebody stole it. I was hoping somebody stole it. I thought I was afraid somebody stole it.
Insurance money.
Exactly. Brian Shaw, John South, and Mark Batson, Tom Barrett in that 4th place position. Dale Batson in that. Mark and Dale Batson, former ATV motocross stars, turned GNCCers, and they are true blue, no doubt about it. Been senior 840 plus top contenders a few years ago. I think they took a year or two off, but looks like they're back into it. So welcoming them back right now. Still no sign of 3rd place. And before we head into our B classes, let's go back again and look into the XC1 class so we can see how things are going. For anyone tuning in, Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com leaderboard looks just like this. Walker Fowler out front, Bryce Neal second, Jared McClure's 3rd, Adam McGill up to 4th, now with Chris Borch in 5th, Hunter Hart in 6th, Johnny Gallagher 7th, John Glada in 8th, 9th is Josh Merritt, and 10th place then is that of Wesley Wolf. And kind of a quick race recap. Walker Fowler got off to the early jump out there with Cole Richardson hot on his back wheel. I'm thinking that, if memory serves me correct, Bryson Neal was back there a little bit. So was Adam McGill. Well, Adam McGill, we'll retell that. That was Bryson Neal that was up there. I'm getting that uniform mixed up again. But they got a pretty good battle, and things really just started getting sorted out. But Adam McGill actually false started. He started his machine, or tried to start his machine before the green flag flew. He realized that. He kind of backed off, and let everybody go. He got tangled up in that first turn, and then on top of getting tangled up and losing that time,
penalized 15 seconds.
Penalized 15 seconds for the false start.
In retrospect, he probably should have just went for it.
Exactly. And if you look at the big picture, 30 seconds right now.
Could mean a lot.
It
Absolutely.
could, because he lost sight of a lot of guys, and when he lost that sight,
I really wouldn't count him out. Who do we have? Was that Neil? Yep,
that is Neil.
We have Bryson Neal, number 4, coming through.
So we got Neil coming through. That's the 2nd place.
Looking
position.
for the 3rd place rider right now. I mean, the battle was so tight, but these guys are pretty spread out right now.
Yeah, tough break for Cole Richardson. They was in a battle, a 3-way shootout there. It was Bryson Neal, Jared McClure, and Cole Richardson battling for a while. Cole had that tumble down the hill. He's out of the race now, and that opened things up even more. You know, we kept asking the questions, what's got these guys so separate? I think that probably the guys stopping to check and make sure everything's all right probably got things separated quite a bit there. So, wow, but what a day.
You know, these guys are pros for a reason, and unfortunately, they don't have any throwaways.
No.
Everything counts. But it's early on.
It is. I mean, it's the law of averages. I mean, when you look at it, I think it's a whole championship. It's not 10 rounds of a championship. It's not 11 rounds. It's a championship.
Absolutely.
So they got all rounds will count. And that's right, and I agree with that. It would be nice to have that luxury of a throwaway here and there, but
it is.
But at the same time, at this level, I'm not going to say
they are at the top of the top. I mean,
right.
These guys are the best in the world.
Right.
In woods racing.
Exactly. Literally, you're right. You hit that right. The world. 8 minutes now out from checker flag, and Walker Fowler making another historical run here in the Steele Creek GNCC, and with that, I think we'll be looking at, Lord, I know that's what, I got the notes here someplace, win like 47 or something like that, crazy for Walker Fowler, as he continues to try to etch his name in the history books. 7.5 mile markers where we're sitting right now. I'm going to look real quick at some of these.
What's our top
classes.
number? 70 for the most wins in ATVs?
74.
74.
That's Chris Borch. 6 national championships as well to go along with that.
College B real quick as we take a look at that. Grayson Eller from the Phoenix Racing Honda team, one of the Red Riders, a 5-minute lead over Keegan Walker. This is a motocrosser.
We have Walker coming up through. It's 1:59.16 last lap. Let's see how far back Neal is.
Okay, so
or McClure.
Real quick.
Or McGill.
College B, Eller, Keegan Walker in second, Dalton Keys third, Caden Ryan in fourth, Levi Myers rounded out your top 5. We'll look back at some more of these guys maybe here in a minute if we get a chance. But we're waiting on Bryson Neal here at the 7.5-mile marker. Was 35 seconds behind Walker Fowler whenever they checked in for the white flag lap. And now Alicia has the clock on it. Where are we now?
We are at about 35 seconds, so he's falling back.
Falling back. And
there he is.
There he is.
He's consistent. I mean, he's keeping the same gap.
Yeah, right, that 35, 40-second gap, that window. Most importantly, he doesn't have anyone tailing him right now, so he's not under pressure there.
It makes you wonder what would happen if he was right there at the beginning. If he could have put himself in the position to tail Walker. Like, could he hang on that long?
I believe so. I mean, if you look at Bryson and you talk to him, he looks as fit as he can be. That can be deceiving sometimes, but he looks like race bike fit. He looks race fit. You know, he doesn't look like training fit. He looks race fit.
You know, his preview video, he said it the best. He said, I like working out. I like training for something. I agree. Like, you work for this. This is what we work for.
That's how you make your living.
You don't want any excuses left on the line. Like, I got tired. I was out of shape.
You know, I think that's got to be one of the hardest things for a rider to say. I got tired. Sometimes, you know, you might indicate under training. Other times it might just admit that it was demanding conditions.
I got tired today.
Yeah, and even the best fit riders can get tired, and it's the conditions.
Yeah, this track is a sprint race. Absolutely.
And let's see, is that our third place ride there, Jared McClure? Did we see him?
I don't know.
Is it that big of an opening back there? We should be seeing Adam McGill come
I think
through.
we might have seen Jared just come by.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. So we should be in the neighborhood of right now seeing Adam McGill check in. Adam should be our next XC1 Pro Class rider. And with that, doing some math right here, 2, 3, oh man, that puts Walker right smack dab near the finish line. He should be approaching the pro pits here by my calculations here in the next few moments.
We caught Chris Borge coming through.
Out.
I think he's falling back a little bit.
So,
but you know, you never count Chris out.
No,
he always pulls those tricks out of his pocket.
He does. The Borge, that was
he borged you.
He borged you, passed you on the last lap. It's not become such a patent. The patented move has not been used so much as of lately, but I'm sure it gets used in some of those battles for third, fourth.
I'll tell you what Hunter told us from Georgia. He got schooled. He got schooled by Borage. He got schooled.
And that's good for Hunter for sure. Good for Chris too, because it lets him know that he still
has it.
Still has it. He does still have it. If you didn't know, Chris had he and his wife had their baby this past.
Yep, she's 7 months old now. She's super cute.
Oh,
Callie, love her.
Baby. Oh, baby, no doubt. And a lot of new babies around.
There really is. It's so awesome to see. You got to think about the next generation of racing. Like, there's going to be some really fast racers out there.
There are. Your son Ryder in that micro class today. JP Pickens was out there in that one. I saw another Glada out there in that one. So I mean,
here we have McGill coming up through.
Yeah, I finally got McGill pegged. He's red with that. That 521.
That number is still pretty vibrant.
Yeah, it is.
We're coming up through the Yamaha section, and we have Walker.
He's right there.
In a little lap traffic, they got right out of his way. Yeah. I mean, you can hear it when somebody's faster. You can hear it.
Oh yeah, their bikes sound. They have a different tone.
They are pinged.
Yeah, they have a different pitch, different tone, and they come fast. I mean, it's not like you hear them a little ways back. You hear them a little ways back, and then you hear them right on you, like you said, and it's easy.
We're gonna be looking for Bryson Neal coming up here in the second place spot.
It's easy to obviously be distracted by those riders whenever they come up through you like that, but it also is a good signal. Well, last year about this time, we were probably about this juncture of the race. Walker Fowler was leading. Cole Richardson was second place. Third place was Adam McGill.
They came around to a section, I believe, lap traffic ahead of them got cross-rutted. The ruts were really, really deep,
Yeah, they were really deep.
and they couldn't get around. And then Cole was so close to the rear bumper of Walker when Walker had to stop. So did Cole, and Cole was trying to get back out and was trying to find a way around. Meantime, 10 seconds or so, 5 seconds. Here it is right here. Watch it unfold right here as we go. There's Walker Fowler. Coming up, this was the Monster Mile there last year. And
always have to be on your toes.
So now here's where the mishap happened. So there's Walker Fowler. You see, he stops right there. There's a rider stopped in the track. Here comes Cole Richardson. Richardson, all of a sudden, he goes around, but he chooses the same line, and he gets kind of stuck there and thinks, oh, man, he's got the lead and the advantage on Walker Fowler now, but here comes Adam McGill, and he goes completely out of line.
Look at that line.
Well within the 25 feet mark there.
Absolutely.
And well within legal limits. And Adam McGill, that was the move right there. Thinking on
pretty
his feet.
Impressive.
And you know that Cole's thinking, doggone it, why didn't
I do it?
Yeah, and I guarantee you that was a lesson learned by Cole Richardson. He would take that to the bank, no doubt. That's how it finished last year. Gap's a little bit larger than what it was last year, but hey, there's still a lot of elements out there, and a minute or so before we'll be seeing these guys nearing the finish line region. I think we'll probably be seeing Walker in the pits probably within the next 30 seconds or so. And then that drive around the final few turns right to the checker flag. And a monumental win here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC.
Couldn't ask for a better day of racing. I mean,
I know.
Weather-wise, it was beautiful. You never know what you're going to get here. It really.
No, seriously, it's hot, it's dry, it's wet, muddy, cold. You never snow. I've seen it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wind, rain.
I mean, think about it. We're still in March.
I know. And it was, there's Walker Fowler making his way in now into that Amsoil chicane in these final moments here as he goes around the backside of the pro pits. He'll be making that turn into the VP Fuels Pro Row right there by the Monster Energy can. And what a monster unleashing his beast coming up through there. You watch. You can tell Walker will be celebrating at this point. Look at that.
Look at him.
Yeah. He's got that head going. He knows he's got this one.
I think this is getting a monkey off his back from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
He definitely does. Walker Fowler into the final turns and sees the checker flag, and Walker Fowler gets redemption at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC and takes the win here in 2019. As, wow, it looks like a sigh of relief, and you would have thought that he had competition the entire way. He did. He was trying to beat himself and, trying to make sure that he had it all in order, and he did. It all played out for him. It panned out. He raced 100% all day long, takes the big win, and a very monumental. That's 3 in a row. He is undefeated, just to give you an idea. We talked about that. You know what my take on this season is.
We have Bryson coming through now towards the finish.
But Walker is still in that undefeated range. He says he don't want to talk about it, but Bryson Neal around now. He will take second. What an amazing ride by Bryson Neal today as well. As Neal was certainly, he found himself behind the 8 ball, but he also found himself a way around it and found himself, able to finally secure that second place position. Now we wait on the third place position, Alicia. When they left on the last lap, 7.5 seconds is all that separated Jared McClure and Bryson Neal. Adam McGill was back in that number 4 position, 2 minutes back. Now, I don't necessarily expect to see Adam come through unless Jared did have a monumental problem out there, and we're about to find out. It's going to take a few minutes, but we're going to find out whether or not McClure, is that him coming through now? I just looked up. No, that's a red gear there. Okay, so I just looked up and I seen we had a rider on there. McClure is in. McClure did check in. He did slip by as I was talking. He was 18 seconds behind Bryson Neal. So your top 3, Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Jared McClure going 1, 2, and 3. A 25:39 lap time for Walker Fowler that last time around. 25:38 for Bryson Neal. 25:49. Those guys turning amazing lap times. Everybody else, 26 minutes or longer, 27 minutes.
It's just unheard of. I mean, these guys are on another level.
They are definitely
so impressive.
Definitely on another level. Elite riders. The total race time elapsed 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 47 seconds for your leader when the checker flew for Walker Fowler. So good call by the track crew and keeping that race in a good 2-hour format right there. So final closing moments. Landon Wolf, I believe, is down in the finish line zone, if I'm not mistaken, and going to be
checking in with our leader.
Yeah, well, and
race winner.
All right, as we wait on things to get organized down at the finish line region, we'll check in with the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com leaderboard. And looks like, again, these are unofficial. Walker Fowler taking the win. Bryson Neal in second. Jared McClure in third. Still waiting, though, on Adam McGill in fourth. Still waiting on Chris Borich in fifth. Hunter Hart in sixth. Johnny Gallagher seventh. John Glada, winner of the XC2 Pro-Am class, or leader, I should say, in 8th place. 9th place, Josh Merritt. In 10th place, Wesley Wolf. And how about it for John making it into the top 10 overall, at least through the first 4 laps. Not sure he'll hang on to it, but good possibility that he's able to do that. Well, folks, with that, we still seeing our riders check in. We've got, we get a chance to talk with our top 3 overall. We'll find out what happened in that XC2 Pro-Am class and so much more. Stick around. GNCC Live continues right after this.
This week in Yamaha history, at the 2007 FMF Steele Creek GNCC, an unseasonably warm day produced one of the greatest spectacles in the 45-year history of Grand National Cross Country racing. As temperatures reached into the upper 80s, the action on the track matched the conditions. Legends Shane Watts, Barry Hawk, and Glenn Kearney were locked in a 3-man breakaway. Nearing the 3-hour mark of the race on the final lap, Glenn Kearney and Yamaha-mounted Barry Hawk emerged from the final wood section in an epic nose-to-tail battle. In the closing moment on his Yamaha, Barry Hawk made the final pass in the final turn, giving him the win. An exhausted Glenn Kearney and Shane Watts rounded out second and third. But Yamaha's Barry Hawk was the only rider able to make it to the podium, as the others were too exhausted to attend. And that's this week in Yamaha history. This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATVMC. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Alicia McCormick and Landon Wolf, who's headed down to our finish line to congratulate our top 3 in the overall. Again, it's Walker Fowler taking the win here in Morganton, North Carolina, with Bryson Neal taking second. Jared McClure rounding out the podium in third place. The Sneaky Snake. I tell you, he really snaked that one today. I mean,
he really does.
He was. I mean, he kind of laid in there. He kind of you knew he was there, but you weren't real sure where he was. He struck whenever it was time to strike.
We don't call him Sneaky Snake for nothing.
Right.
That's for sure.
He struck when the time was right. He moved up into that number 3 spot, was able to take
Pretty
that
pumped
one.
to see that. Jared's a good egg.
And he needed this ride today.
You know what? He's he works. He works for a living.
Right, he does. And he needed this ride today.
He did. Rough start to the season.
He's outside the top 10 overall in points. He had a really bad, like you said, rough start there at round 1. I'm not sure what happened at round 2, but obviously he didn't redeem himself from it, I don't think. But he did today.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that.
So cool to see.
It is. So no changes so far in what we're seeing.
If you look at the top 5, these guys have been in it for a long time.
They have. They are. Yeah, you're right. Bryson's the newbie of them all.
And Hunter Hart coming away with a 6th place with the challenges that he faced. That's really cool to see.
And how about it for Johnny Gallagher?
Yeah, we never count Johnny out. He's so impressive. He's still 7th fastest in the world, and he's how old?
41, going to be 42 years old. He's been racing the XC1 class this is his 25th season.
He's my hero.
Mine too. And I'm 10 years older than him, or 9 years older than him, or 8 or whatever. But anyway, he's been on the starting line for the pro class at every green flag here at Steele Creek.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing accomplishment. John Galata Jr., again, that was your winner of the XC2 Pro-Am class. Josh Merritt, 9th place overall. Wesley Wolf, who was featured on the event t-shirt, man, had a good ride going. He was up to 7th there for a while. He drops back to the 10th place position overall at the end of this one. Let's check in with those XC2 Pro-Am. Well, actually, we haven't seen John Galata check in yet. We haven't seen Drew Landers check in.
Or Josh Merritt.
Or Josh Merritt. So let's go back up here. We could be waiting a few more moments to find out a little bit more about that. And, wow, this could end up changing. So, I mean, again, those are on
Johnny hasn't checked in yet either.
So Hunter Hart is top 6 have checked in. So we're waiting right now.
Johnny's coming in hot. Look at him.
Yep.
Johnny, it's pretty awesome. I mean, he's number 12, but he just finished 7th.
Right.
Overall.
41 years old, working on 42. I mean,
that's awesome.
That is. And I'm not saying that's old, but you got to take into account that most of the guys are in the early to mid 20s.
Absolutely.
Chris Borch is getting, he's in his early mid 30s.
36, I think.
And we got, I think, also
Jared's he's 33.
And Adam McGill in his 30s. So, I mean, some of these guys,
I think Johnny's in better shape than he was like 15 years ago, though.
Oh, he is.
Absolutely.
He is. There is no doubt about it. Johnny probably literally is in the best shape of his life. I mean, every year he comes out and he's just better and better and better and better. It just blows me away. But, I mean, his dad was like that, too. If you knew Big John Gallagher, just an amazing individual. We lost him several years ago, around 2010, 2011. But, man, what a big loss we suffered when we lost Big John Gallagher. But certainly keeping the legacy alive here is Johnny Gallagher, little Johnny. Not so little anymore.
No.
But I have to think, man, his dad would be so
I know.
proud.
He's smiling down on him for sure.
His dad would be so happy. Okay, so Alicia, I'm going to take off. I think we want to take a quick break there, Adam, and then I'll run down to the podium and we'll start getting some interviews with some of those riders. So stick around, GNCC. Go ahead. Yeah. All right, so we'll have somebody hold the mic. That way we'll keep it like this right here. I don't know if they can hear us down there, so if you want to take a quick break, Adam, let's do that, and I'll run down. Okay. All right, GNCC Live will continue right after this.
Started life as a half-ton two-wheel drive. We have a 6.8-liter Cummins in it. It started life at 2,000 horsepower.
Clocking an Outlaw Diesel Super Series Pro Mod record of 4.71 seconds in the 8th mile, Ben has risen to the top in diesel drag racing.
It's a lot of power, and it's a lot of heat. It is very punishing. 98 pounds of boost can wreck a lot of things.
Ben's truck was the perfect proving ground for AMSOIL's Dominator 15W50 racing oil, which Ben ran the entire 2018 season.
Almost 80 passes later, we're here to take it apart and see what it looks like. The rod bearings, everything looked great. We did have one crank bearing that wasn't bad. It showed some wear, and rightfully so. The power level we're at, that's kind of what we were after. We want to know, do we need to schedule a maintenance halfway through the season? Cam looked great, tappets looked good. The protection was definitely there.
Anybody can test an engine at stock horsepower levels, but when you're 2,000 horsepower running a full season, that's quite a testament.
That kind of abuse for that long, we have not seen this kind of longevity.
The 2019 Yamaha YXZ 1000R sets a new standard for all sports side-by-sides. Offering increased performance and expanded drivability over a wider variety of terrain. Improved overall comfort and Yamaha-proven off-road durability. There's no other side-by-side like it, not even close.
We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young, and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoy.com/join-now.
Right here, Walker Fowler, who just got a big redemption over the last year running of this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Walker, an amazing feat out there today. Big day here at Steele Creek. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, you know, we got off to another fantastic start, and that's been the key to the first 3 races. We didn't get the whole shot money, but we went into the woods first. Cole Richardson drove it in hard on that second corner and got the money, but you know, he was pushing me hard there the first probably 5 or 6 miles, and you know, I was feeling good. Just trying to battle, you know, just early race fatigue, and your heart rate goes from, you know, 120 to 220 real quick. So, you know, it definitely is a challenge the first couple laps, but we try to get out there, just make smart lines, try to eliminate big mistakes early, make it to that second hour of the race, and then that's when the fight's on. Yeah, it was a good day, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. I know the lap times are a little bit shorter. You're normally used to running those 4-lap races. Was the 5th lap a curveball for you by any? Because there was you had to do 2 pit stops.
Yeah, no, that 5th lap is definitely a curveball. You know, not only is our pit strategy a little different, we may or may not have been able to make it on fuel, but you know, already seeing what happened last year, we ran out once. Seeing Bryce and Neil run out in Florida, we're not taking that gamble. You know, when you have a little bit of a lead, that's a perk of having that lead, is we can stop, get a quick splash of gas, eliminate any questions, and you know, continue in that second hour strong. Man, that Monster Energy hill climb bit me the last lap. Had a lap rider in front of me, and he stalled it or didn't make it, and I was high center too. Thank goodness for the fans. A couple of them ran down and told me that it was them that helped. If it wasn't for them, I'd still be sitting there probably. It was not a good situation. It's very steep. The video doesn't do it justice, but man, we sneaked to the top. The lead definitely got real short, and I just had to put my head down that last lap and charge.
I knew something happened. Something tightened that up, man. Almost deja vu for you from last year, it sounds like. But good job, man. Thanks for the show.
Absolutely. Definitely want to give a huge thanks to my family, my awesome mechanic, Mark Notman, everyone at Racer TV that does these productions, everyone that watches it, my family and friends, my beautiful girlfriend, the Pipers. Thank you guys so much. The whole WFR, GBC, Fly Racing, Yamaha team, and all these fantastic sponsors. Thank you, guys.
All righty, that's Walker Fowler taking the win here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. I think that's, what win number is that now, Walker?
And that is win 48. We're closing on 50. We're having a celebration when we hit 50.
All righty, there you go. Win 47 for Walker Fowler there, so congratulations to him. And a big #1 win, a big day of redemption here at Steele Creek GNCC, so congratulations to him for that. Looking for our second place ride, as we'll be bringing Bryce and Neil around here in just a moment. And Bryson, I'll tell you what, a heck of a show for him today as well. I know that he's got to be happy. He wanted to win, I'm sure, but Bryson, got to be really stoked about that ride today.
Oh yeah, we finally nailed that start. We started going to the woods. So pumped on that. I almost didn't know what to do. I rode really complacent the first lap, and I was just like, what do I do? I'm not usually here. And I rode a little tight, and at the end of the second lap, I started coming on and started hitting my marks, and Cole let me by, and man, we was just rolling good, and just try to stay smart. This track was really tough, up and down, the braking bumps. It was just a gnarly track. I think it's honestly a little bit rougher than Florida, but all in all, we're happy that we finished second today, and looking forward to Camp Coker.
Well, we know that Colt let you around. Do you have any idea what happened with the incident with him? Did you hear about that, see it or anything?
Jared told me that I'm not sure if he hit a tree or what he hit, but he ripped his A-arm off. He hit something and he completely ripped his whole A-arm off. So
I didn't know if you got to witness that or not, but man, crazy battles today. Good ride for you. Really enjoyed watching that one. Keep up the good work, and I can't wait to see what happens when we roll into Camp Coker.
I appreciate it, Ronnie. Thank you.
Anybody you want to say thanks to?
I'd like to thank Casey at Elka taking me on this year. My dad, my Hauser, CST Tires, Moose Racing Gear, FMF, DWT Wheels, Sunstar Chains, IMS, Waynesburg Yamaha, Pat Kidwell, who came all the way from Indiana, him and Zach, they helped pit me today. Chris Landers and the whole Land Mills team, they've done a heck of a job. All the fans out there, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the podium.
All righty, there you go. That's Bryson Neal taking the second place position, the Bidwell Bullet, if you will, out of Bidwell, Ohio. And our third place position going to go to the Sneaky Snake. He looks like a tired snake right now, though, I think, as he is making his way off that number 2 steed, or snake, skin, I guess. I don't know what it would be, what a snake would ride, but he rides that quad right over there is what he rides. And Jared, man, another one of those days, you had yourself right there in a position to make some moves, it looked like.
Yeah, actually ended up lining up like one of the last guys due to a couple bad races there early on, but pulled a great start, Baldwin motor, I got a fresh head on there, thing ripped out of there, Max's tires hooked, and man, I was almost fighting for the whole shot, which is rare for me, so I was glad, though, because definitely, I think you could ask any of these guys, this track here is one where you need to start, so it was nice being out front all day. Walker really ran away from us there in the beginning, and it kind of ended up being a battle for second between Bryce and Cole and myself. We just went at it for a while, and then Cole actually crashed pretty bad over here, hit a tree. Stopped checking on him, it was bad, I hope he's all right, and then tried to run Bryson down, but I opted to not pit again. We went a little longer than 2 hours, but I know the Honda with that IMS tank could do well over an hour 20, so excited to be on the podium again.
There you go. So did you check the gas to see how much you had whenever you came across the finish line?
Oh yeah, we got plenty. Like I said, I know we were good for about an hour 20, so it seems like sometimes you got to watch. I try to pay attention to the race time out there, and I seen going on the last lap, I figured I'd be fine. I kind of had to be at that point, but it worked out, and the bike was working awesome. Elka suspension, Texera Tech components, Impact Solution helped me tune the shocks. The bike was working great. Fresh Moose gear I have on here, since 2020 gear. Worked awesome, felt great. Just a good day.
Well, it certainly was. And, of course, congratulations once again to the Sneaky Snake. You can call him Sneaky Snake. You can call him Cobra, whatever you call him. He's third place here today. That's for doggone sure, man. Good job. And Jared is one to find the center of that box again, as he found it last year, one of those 6 riders that was able to do that. A lot of riders that want to do that, but I think that Walker Fowler is going to be tough to take out of the center of that box here today as we sneak around back trying to find our XC1 winner. I think that might be him over there. So we got John Glotta over here. We're going to bring our XC2 Pro-Am class winner up, and then I think you about over and ready to head to the podium, ready to go to mountain bike GNCC racing as well. For you folks that are here on site with us right now, we'll be running EMTB GNCC. That will be getting started somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5 o'clock, so we're about 20 minutes or so out from that. John Glotta, congratulations to you, man. A heck of a ride. Drew Landers got a start on you today, man, and that meant you had to go to work early.
Yeah, well, I'll take that start. It was pretty good for my usual.
So you're not a strong starter either then, huh?
No, most of the time dead last.
Well, man, so you guys both get out front there today. Take me through that race.
Yeah, followed Ben and Drew for first lap. Drew wrecked on a downhill, then just following Ben, finally got around him, and then kind of just put my head down and pushed. And my back was really hurting, but just kept my head down, charged.
It was a rough track. It beat you up?
Yeah, track was definitely very rough.
I know. I was talking to Bryson Neal a second ago. He said he thought it might be as rough or rougher than Florida. Do you have that, take away that same feeling?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
That's crazy how that happens. But, man, congratulations. Anybody else you need to say thanks to or shout-outs to?
Just my mom, dad, and my whole family, and everyone that's behind me.
All righty, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, John Glada Jr. taking a win in the XC2. He also got, 9th place overall, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations to him for that, and congratulations to all our racers here at the FMF Steel Creek GNCC. That's going to do it for us here at Racer TV today. And, of course, for more racing action, be sure and join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We will be providing you with live start coverage of the morning race. It'll be starts only, but we'll be doing all the starts tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, about 1 o'clock, we'll be going live here on RacerTV.com and, of course, to the world for 3 hours of the big two-wheel battle. Caleb Russell going for another win. Thad Duvall trying to knock him down. And one big thing, the question that people are asking, can Trevor Bollinger get his first ever overall win here in front of the hometown crowd? Join us tomorrow to find out. That'll do it on behalf of Alicia McCormick and, of course, our good buddy Landon Wolf. I'm Rodney Tomlin saying so long, everybody.